What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 2K. Chapter 25. Naruto, the terrifying son of the plane, 5th update. Advertise here. Naruto, who had 9 tails sealed, seemed to have opened up both the Ren and Du channels. Not only has chakra skyrocketed, but I can also learn it quickly. Climbing trees, treading water, and even Rasengan were all quickly mastered within a week of Tianyu's teaching. This made Uchiha Sasuke, who calls himself a genius, green with envy. This is too exaggerated. Tianyu knew that without the interference of 9 tails, Naruto would have an epic version update. But this direct update to the rhythm of Shippuden was something Tianyu never expected. Come to think of it, at this time, Naruto's own chakra is 100 cards. Originally, 96 cards were used to suppress the 9 tails chakra. As a result, 9 tails was completely sealed. The upper limit of chakra that Naruto can master instantly surged to 100 calories. Coupled with his terrifying chakra control talent that can surpass the 4th generation to develop spiral shuriken. Naruto's panel strength instantly soared to the terrifying cage level. If it weren't for the fact that the combat experience is too bad, the body is not fully developed, and the physical strength has not reached its peak. At this time, Naruto might be able to easily defeat the 3rd generation. If he was a kid holding bullet parts, then Naruto at this time was a kid who could thwart a nuclear bomb. Tianyu asked Naruto to test the Rasengan with the maximum output of Zanzhuang. As a result, this guy created a massive Rasengan that was the size of the tug of war with 9 tails during the 4th World War. Not to mention Sasuke, even Tianyu, who owned cheat, felt sore in his heart. He had to work so hard to kill 2 Jonin, and 2 elite Shunin to increase his spiritual power to 1 card. This guy had already done it to 100 cards. He couldn't help but complained crazily in his heart. This is the difference between the time traveler and the son of destiny. No wonder the time traveler Wang Mang didn't defeat Lu Shu, the son of the plane. This is totally unreasonable to you. Tianyu could only comfort himself by thinking about the half of 9 tails in Naruto's body. It doesn't matter, that thing will belong to you sooner or later. There must be no wear and tear on that thing. It must have at least 5,000 cards at a time. Plus the other 8, it's just the protagonist of Shippuden with the upper limit of pseudo 6 paths. It's a small case. So when Kakashi opened his eyes after a week of coma, he saw Naruto rubbing balls in each hand with his left and right hands. Kakashi-sensei, are you awake? Naruto was overjoyed when he noticed Kakashi. He ran towards Kakashi excitedly, the 2 balls flickering and emitting a blue light. Kakashi's whole face turned green. FK. Get out of the way. It was Tianyu who kicked Kakashi out in time. The 2 Rasengans hit the ground and 2 big holes appeared on the tatami. Naruto seemed to realize that he had made a mistake. He scratched his head in embarrassment and said sheepishly. Sorry Kakashi-sensei, I forgot. Kakashi, who was already very exhausted, rolled his eyes at this kick. After a long time, he regained his composure and asked Tianyu in a solemn voice. How long have I been unconscious? This is Konoha. How many years? Tianyu sighed sympathetically. You've been in a coma for 7 days. Kakashi looked at Tianyu stubbornly with an expression that said, you must be kidding me. In 7 days, Naruto was able to perform A-level ninjutsu with both hands. Tianyu shrugged helplessly. Really? Kakashi pulled the corner of his mouth in pain and said in a harsh voice. Tell me what happened these days. Tianyu shrugged. He selectively obtained the power of the seal from the summoning beast, and then helped Naruto perfect the seal, and then told Kakashi about Naruto's sudden version update. As for the Rasengan, it was the result of being a genius who had no ninjutsu, so he wanted to study a non-attribute ninjutsu, and was successfully experimented by Naruto. Kakashi looked at Naruto who was giggling with a dull look on his face. His appearance gradually overlapped with that of his teacher Namikaze Minato. Minato-sensei, Kakashi murmured, then regained his composure and said to Naruto seriously. This ninjutsu cannot be used casually without my permission. Especially on companions. Naruto suddenly looked unhappy and shouted, why? Kakashi said with a faint look. Because it's easy to beat people to death. Naruto was startled and nodded awkwardly, okay. As a Hokage who has never killed anyone in the Boruto-den, Naruto is still very awed by death. Tianyu on the side asked Kakashi with an innocent look on his face. Kakashi-sensei, you see, I have invented such a powerful ninjutsu. Can I hand it over to the village and exchange it for some other ninjutsu? Kakashi took a deep look at Tianyu and said calmly. The village of Rasengan is already included. Tianyu shook his head in time and said in disappointment. Really? That's a pity. It's too difficult for a civilian ninjas to learn powerful ninjutsu. Kakashi smiled as if he had seen through Tianyu. If it's not an important secret skill in the village, I can teach you whatever you want to learn. This is also the authority to guide Jonin, and it is one of the reasons why even family ninjas are willing to send direct descendants to ninja schools to be brainwashed. Tianyu grinned when he heard this. That's so embarrassing. Don't wait for Kakashi to say it. Tianyu quickly answered. Then I want to learn how much shadow clone technique. Chapter 26 Let our disciples compete. Open black lens bracket first update close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Tianyu got his wish and got the multiple shadow clone techniques he had longed for. This is the forbidden technique, and it is also the secret technique in the sealed scroll. Even though everyone in Konoha Jonin is using it. But there are not many outside the village who know this ninjutsu. Now that Tianyu has the ability to summon all realms, it is Tianyu's inevitable plan to conduct mutually beneficial transactions with powerful men from other realms. The ninja world has summoning scrolls that seal living people. The Book of Heaven and Earth used in the Chunin exam is the summoning scroll that summons the examiner. Therefore, Tianyu decided to try to see if he could have his summoning beast bring the scroll back, and then summon himself there. However, it is very dangerous for the body to go to another world. Don't talk about others. At the very least, it is impossible for Tianyu to put his life in Doflamingo's hands. Therefore, the multiple shadow clone technique has become a magical skill that helps Tianyu travel to other worlds. It can not only help the main body to go to other worlds to detect information and complete transactions. It can also help you quickly practice the skills of other worlds. Tianyu naturally has to master this magical skill. Tianyu once tried to get skills from Naruto. But learning ninjutsu is not as simple as seen in anime. It is impossible for ninjas to secretly learn ninjutsu through seals. It also requires the specific root of the chakra in the meridians. To put it bluntly, ninjutsu is just a kind of martial arts move, and chakra is internal power. Only when chakra runs along a certain route of meridians can it finally complete the nature transformation and form change, thus releasing the corresponding ninjutsu. Mudras can guide chakra when it flows to specific meridian nodes. Different mudras can guide the nodes of different meridians, ultimately forming a ninjutsu. Therefore, when a ninja is familiar with the flow of chakra of a ninjutsu, he no longer needs the corresponding mudra to guide the flow of chakra. This is what is called getting whatever you want by clapping your hands. Ninjutsu during the ninja sect period did not require sealing. Ninjutsu was just created by Indra to make it easier for the novices in the ninja sect to learn ninjutsu. It's also a water dragon bomb technique. Why does Senju Tobarama's simplified version have 4 seals, while Maruhoshi Kosuke's simplified version has 5 seals? The order of each seal is also different. It's all because the two people practice different meridians. Therefore, a novice like Kakashi who lacks mana and is not familiar with the operation route of water dragon bomb technique can only complete the 44 seal release ninjutsu by increasing his hand speed. Therefore, except for Rasengan, a simple fool's ninjutsu that requires terrifying mental power to control the flow of chakra, the rest of the ninjutsu requires ninjutsu training scrolls, martial arts secrets, to assist in practice. The reason why Naruto can quickly master multiple shadow clone is because many meridians of shadow clone technique overlap with 3-body technique. Naruto practiced the 3-body technique countless times in order to graduate early. Coupled with his talent and huge chakra, he finally mastered multiple shadow clone in a days. But if you want him to tell you why, he can't. In desperation, Tianyu had to ask Kakashi for this forbidden technique, and only elite Jonin like Kakashi could be qualified to pass it on. And sure enough, as Tianyu thought, the multiple shadow clone technique has a very large overlap with the 3-body technique. After mastering the meridians through which chakra flows, Tianyu, who already has a Jonin level, quickly mastered the key points of multiple shadow clone techniques. And also at this time, the reinforcements that little Sakura brought back to Konoha also arrived in the country of waves. Might Guy smacked the big white fang and mocked Kakashi loudly. Hey, Kakashi, the injury is quite serious this time. Tianyu-kun. Little Sakura threw herself into Tianyu's arms worriedly, while Naruto's face turned green with jealousy. When Tiantian saw this, he glared at Tianyu fiercely, with an angry look on his face. I secretly swore my sovereignty in the ninja school for so many years, but someone took advantage of me so quickly. This abominable playboy. Might Guy smiled at the weak Kakashi and said. Master Hokage, please let me replace you to complete the mission. You can go back to Konoha village to repair. Do you want me to arrange for Neji to send you off? Now it seems that your old enemy is somewhat weak. Kakashi rolled his eyes speechlessly. He laughed slowly. That's not necessary. My disciples are already outstanding. They are enough for us to return to the village safely. Might Guy turned his head and glanced at Sasuke, with a look of surprise on his face. Hey, is this the genius ninja of the Uchiha clan? But there is also a genius in our team. Neji looked at Uchiha Sasuke arrogantly, paying no attention to the flirting Tianyu and the hopeless Naruto. He challenged Sasuke condescendingly. Are you the number 1 in your age this year? I will take the Chunin exam. I hope you won't disappoint me. If it were Sasuke in the anime, he would naturally feel proud at this time, because he has gained the attention of the strong opponent. But because there are 2 cheaters, Naruto and Tianyu, the weakest Sasuke only feels endless humiliation when being provoked like this. He snorted angrily and slammed the door directly. Hyuga Neji frowned. He snorted with an unhappy expression. She's quite arrogant, but I don't know what her strength is. Naruto and Tianyu looked at each other and smiled. At this time, Naruto actually had the joy of pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger. This was something he had never experienced in his life. After all, he was a real pig before and didn't need to pretend. Might Guy and Rock Lee's eyes were on fire and they howled loudly with excitement. Might Guy. Oh, this is youth. Kakashi, let's make the next victory or defeat a competition between disciples. Oh yeah. Rock Lee. Oh ouch. Teacher Guy, I won't let you down. Oh yeah. Neji, Tiantian. Seeing the weird looks in Tianyu and Naruto's eyes, the two of them quickly ran towards the location of the bridge. They didn't want to have anything to do with this pair of stupid masters and disciples. Kakashi, on the other hand, smiled indifferently and nodded in agreement. Laozi's two disciples with special Jonin strength, you want to beat them. Chapter 27. Cross-border transactions, making huge war fortunes. Open black lens bracket second update close black lens bracket. Advertise here. In the palace of Dressrosa. Baby 5 took out a scroll from his arms and placed it on the ground. I have to say that the girls in One Piece world are big enough to be Tinker Bell's treasure bag. At this time, Doflamingo and others gathered in a circle and looked at the scrolls on the ground. Is it okay this time? Baby 5 nodded repeatedly. There is no danger this time. He said he would come here in person, and then all he has to do is tear the scroll apart. Doflamingo waved his hand. Diamante stepped forward and carefully opened the scroll. There is a big Chinese character drawn in the middle of the densely packed curse seals. As the scroll unfolded, white smoke began to emit from the characters. Diamante, who had already been bombed once, threw the scroll away. Young master, be careful. Grandma, a piece of paper so thin as like a cannonball, wouldn't such a big scroll be able to blow up the palace? Circa manipulated the castle to quickly build a closed stone house in front of the scroll. With a muffled bang, the sound of knocking came from the stone house. Hello, what the hell, is there anyone here? It's so dark. Tianyu's voice came from the stone house. Doflamingo and others looked at each other and then prepared to let Circa open the defensive stone house. However, at this moment, the stone wall controlled by Circa suddenly shattered. Circa's eyes widened, and a high-pitched voice came from the golden helmet. How can it be? The other cadres looked at Circa strangely. What's wrong? Sekka said anxiously. I didn't destroy the stone wall. Nani? Everyone looked towards where the smoke and dust were. Tianyu patted the ashes on his body and walked out of the ruins. What the hell? Straw Hat Luffy is calling. He looked up and saw Doflamingo in a pink flamingo coat staring at him. Little brat. Everyone frowned. At this time, his body shape was almost the same as when the Itachi clan was exterminated. As a child from a wealthy family, Tianyu's body grew very quickly. It's just that his face is not as youthful and mature as Uchiha Itachi's, so you can still tell that he is not very old. Ha! Welcome our distinguished guest. Doflamingo's pink sunglasses made it difficult to see his expression, but a wave of conqueror's haki suddenly burst out from his body and rushed towards Tianyu. Show off your power. A greeting for meeting pirates in the pirate world. Tianyu rolled his eyes and ignored Doflamingo's conqueror's haki and walked towards the crowd. As he said, people in the pirate world do not cultivate spiritual energy, so for them, conqueror's haki is one of a kind, or even one of a million. But it's not uncommon in the ninja world. Tianyu narrowed his eyes and understood. The so-called conqueror's haki is just the application of spiritual energy. And this simplest conqueror's haki impact is not uncommon in the ninja world. That's the Genjutsu Orochimaru used in the Chunin exam, the Narakumi technique. People in the pirate world do not mix spiritual energy with physical energy to form chakra. Therefore, only those with extraordinary talents and extremely strong natural spiritual power can reach this level of illusion power. Those who are weaker, for example, when Luffy first awakened on Sabayati Island, he once frightened the giant bull that was a copycat Sanji's mount and ran away trembling. This is the same as in the anime, when Zabuza and Kakashi clashed with each other in their murderous intent, Sasuke was so frightened that he couldn't move. At this time, Tianyu's spiritual power has reached the Jonin level. Even if chakra reaches this level, it will no longer be subject to this level of mental impact, let alone the power of the four souls condensed purely with soul power. Tianyu smiled slightly and directly used his spiritual power to collide with Doflamingo's conqueror's haki. The officials of the Don Quixote family looked horrified. Impossible. Conqueror's haki. Nothing can change without departing from its roots. Regardless of the world's cultivation system, it is composed of three basic components: physical strength, soul strength, and natural strength. Soul power is called spiritual energy in the Hokage world, spiritual power and demonic power in the InuYasha world, and it is Conqueror's haki in the pirate world. The effect of the burst of spiritual power is the same as Conqueror's haki. It's a pity that the amount of Conqueror's haki is far behind that of Doflamingo. At most, I can only protect myself but not fight against him. But as a greeting for the first meeting, it was enough for Doflamingo to treat him as a business partner. Doflamingo puts away Conqueror's haki. Yes, welcome to my kingdom. Tianyu also took back his spiritual power into his body and laughed. I have admired you for a long time, and I am happy to be in the eyes of Heavenly Yaksha of the Seven Warlords of the Sea. Let's talk about some business. A few days later, Tianyu, who had returned to Konoha village for training, had a burst of light in his eyes. Shadow Clone transferred a large amount of memories back to his mind. Marine 6 styles. Life has returned. Shichibukai summons. Has the summit war in that world begun? I have made a lot of war fortune. Chapter 28. Technique. Soul. Body. Cheat is powerful. Open black lens bracket. Third update. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Shadow clone technique is worthy of being Naruto's second most popular cheat. Not only did Tianyu complete the intelligence acquisition across borders. Moreover, the warmongers of the two worlds, the heroes of the two worlds hit it off and completed a trade agreement and an offensive and defensive alliance between the two sides. The two sides communicate with each other, exchange resources, and agree to provide military assistance when necessary. Anyway, Konoha is a mercenary organization with no objections. As long as Doflamingo is willing to spend money, he can find a way to trick third generation into recruiting Summit War Tianyu. But according to the time point Doflamingo said, at this time, Luffy is probably already in the sky, which means that there should be several months before the start of Summit War. On the contrary, on my side, the time for Chunon's exam has been set, just 2 months later. By the time the fight started on the other side, the third Hokage grave grass on my side was full of grass. And this time the transaction went smoother than expected. In addition to the sale of detonating charms, Doflamingo is also very interested in some formations, traps and other things provided by Tianyu. It's a pity that the low-end combat power in the pirate world uses thermal weapons, and ninja tools such as kunai and shuriken have little sales. However, the model of hiring ninjas to perform tasks aroused Doflamingo's great interest. Especially after seeing transformation technique. Doflamingo immediately realized that this group of ninjas might be of great convenience if used to eavesdrop on intelligence or create chaos. However, Tianyu naturally would not agree to give the three-body technique to Doflamingo, and even gave Doflamingo a chance to communicate with Konoha, but he pushed back. Because Tianyu is not at ease about Konoha F4. The Konoha under Sarutobi Hiruzen's control has long since rotted. If you expose your ability to cross-border resources, you will most likely be treated like a guinea pig. In order to obtain the power of wood style, Konoha F4 secretly experimented with ninjas from the Senju clan. After 3 battles, only one of the Senju clan died, Tsunade. Nawaki was killed in front of his home and his internal organs were eviscerated. Later, the wood-style Yamato experiment was successful. There is nothing fishy here. Only a ghost can believe it. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen is good to civilians, it is based on the fact that civilians are more conducive to the Sarutobi clan's control of the Hokage position. If Tianyu is exposed to abilities beyond control limits, then his fate is probably not much better than Hitaki Tsukumo, and the ideal situation is to be kicked out of Konoha village like Sanin. Tianyu touched his chin. I was originally thinking about whether to save Sarutobi Hiruzen. After all, having him alive is good for my family's business. But now it seems that third generation has no choice but to die. When the time comes, I will find an opportunity to sneak in and secretly replenish my sword. The cage-level soul energy will definitely make my strength leap forward again. Quote. Return of life. If the 4 souls Jade represents the power of the soul. Tianyu looked at his third newly appeared light spot. I don't know if the pirate world represents the power of the body. The Shakan Jade can only absorb half of the energy of chakra. Is it because spiritual energy only accounts for half of the chakra mix? Quote. If the Shakan Jade absorbs half of the soul power, will the physical power be absorbed by the light point of the pirate world? Tianyu licked his dry lips. If this is really the case, then the speed at which he becomes stronger will probably double again. But now there is no good opportunity to experiment. You should be able to find out after killing a few more enemy village ninjas during the Death Forest exam. The world of Hokage is art, the world of InuYasha is soul, and the world of pirates is body. Tianyu felt that his cheat was helping him develop into a hexagonal warrior. Who else has summoningmon? Tianyu rubbed his palms, and the image of Sanin and Sarutobi Hiruzen flashed in his mind. The summoning beasts of these people are different from cats and dogs. They are all powerful clans in the ninja world. I don't know what kind of powerful people from other worlds I can contract with if I can contract with the 3 holy lands or the ape demon. However, Tianyu is not in a hurry to contract a new summoning beast at this time. Because he needs to digest the gains from this trip to the country of waves. Although the soul energy increased rapidly, his personal combat effectiveness did not actually improve much. What cheat enhanced was Tianyu's foundation and talent. It takes time to turn this kind of foundation and talent into strength. Although Tianyu can also rely on contracts to summon strong men from other worlds to fight, it is not advisable to place his life on summoned beasts with small thoughts. A situation where the servant is strong and the master is weak is not a good sign. Just look at Tokiomi Tasaka and you will know what will happen if you rely too much on summoningmon. If Doflamingo and the others are a little cautious when they fight, they might die on the spot. And if you have admiral-level strength, then we won't be so passive when negotiating with Doflamingo and his gang. It would be enough to just force him to help him search for resources in the pirate world. There is no need to rely on profit to maintain relationships like this. Just look at how scared Doflamingo is of Kaido. A strong individual is truly strong. So Tianyu fell silent after finishing solving the world of pirates. He used the time before the Chunin exam to begin summoning Shadow Clone to practice Marine's 6 styles and life-returning techniques. As for his true body, he practiced the 4 soul art to enhance his spiritual power. While resting, take the opportunity to practice chakra nature transformation. Because Tianyu guessed that if the light spot in the ninja world wanted to grow, simply increasing the amount of chakra would not work. His spiritual power had grown to the Jonin level, and the amount of chakra he had controlled to refine had reached the Chunin level, but there was still no movement in the light spot in the ninja world. Shiyu guessed that the improvement of the light spot in the ninja world should be based on mastering the essence of chakra, that is, developing and integrating the 7-attribute chakra to finally form the truth-seeking ball, the end point of ninjutsu. So Shiyu was also trying to perform nature transformation on chakra while cultivating his soul and body. So time passed bit by bit in Tianyu's methodical practice. With money opening the way, little Sakura helped her complete all the genin tasks. Soon the time came to the end of the month, and a large number of ninjas from other villages began to pour into Konoha village. The Chunin exam is about to begin. Chapter 29 The Two Pillars Falling into Darkness, 4th update. Advertise here. This day, everyone arrived at the gathering place early. Naruto and Sasuke still looked at each other unfavorably, but now Sasuke looked even more gloomy. As a genius, he was suddenly reduced to the weakest position in the team, which directly made him, the proud reincarnation of Indra, jealous. Looking at his face as if someone owed him 800 yuan, Tianyu even doubted whether this guy's Indra chakra had been activated. And Tianyu yawned with a pair of tired dark circles. Training using multiple shadow clone technique is indeed not done by humans. If he hadn't relied on his powerful soul cultivating techniques, he might have been struck by these complicated memories and become a fool. At this time, Naruto could easily accept the memories of hundreds of shadow clones. During the Fourth War, thousands of shadow clones were divided to support the battlefield. This kind of pervert-level soul endurance can only be said that Ashura's reincarnation was not given in vain. Thousands of years of reincarnation have accumulated a really high level of soul strength. However, Tianyu's hard work also paid off hugely. He has evolved from an ordinary civilian ninja with no talent to a physical genius. He has successfully mastered iron body, shaving and paper arts. Even in the pirate world, he can be a trainee CP9. At least he has made greater progress than the original Kebi in a few months. As for finger pistol, tempest kick and moonwalk, since the physical strength has not caught up, they cannot be practiced yet, and naturally cannot be mastered. But he has spent huge sums of money to buy a large number of tonics from the Nara clan to strengthen his body through the return of life. If he continues step by step, even if the golden light spots cannot absorb physical energy, it will take him a year and a half to reach the limit of what a human like Rob Lucci can achieve in terms of physical fitness. Don't look at Rob Lucci's early defeat. It was purely physical power and did not have any bonus from hockey. Without hockey, not even Garp is as physically strong as Rob Lucci. That's pure physical strength. If Tianyu can develop his body to that level, he might really be able to use Gaiyi as a level A. Why is Rob Lucci directly enhanced to the level of 5th speed Luffy 46 with the version update? Isn't it because his physical foundation is solid? He doesn't need to rely on Krypton life to increase his combat effectiveness like Luffy's Nika fruit. At this time, the atmosphere became more solemn as Naruto and Sasuke fell silent. Little Sakura looked at Naruto and Sasuke who were becoming more and more embarrassed and was going crazy. Damn it, Kakashi-sensei fell asleep again. Kakashi. Yo, good morning. Naruto and little Sakura roared in unison. It's already noon. Kakashi frowned looking at Sasuke's gloomy expression. The teamwork has been getting more and more outrageous recently. Then he sighed. But it's really normal. At this time, Naruto and Tianyu are both theoretically special Jonin level. Even though the two of them lacked combat experience, much worse than Sasuke. However, the huge gap in panel attributes makes it impossible for Sasuke to beat the two. Tianyu doesn't need to say more. Although his combat experience is not very good, Moroha hunts monsters every day. Coupled with her special Jonin strength, it is naturally impossible for Sasuke to defeat her. As for Naruto, during the rooftop showdown between the two in the anime, Naruto only had 4 cards of chakra. And now Naruto has 100 calories of chakra. The shadow clone alone can tire Sasuke to death, not to mention that he also has the terrifying killer weapon Rasengan. Even though Kakashi had given Sasuke some tricks and taught him the Chidori, it was of no use. The gap in basic attributes was too big, and there was no room for him to use his combat experience. That is, only elite Jonin or Jonin like Kakashi can decapitate Naruto with their strong combat awareness and experience. As for the lower level ones, even special Jonin will only be killed by Naruto. It was this huge gap in strength that made Sasuke's mentality seriously unbalanced. Coupled with the fact that he had a hatred of genocide, Sasuke was as violent as a volcano about to erupt. Without the bond of the Kingdom of Waves in the anime, the darkness in Sasuke's heart becomes deeper and deeper. I'm afraid that when Orochimaru comes, he won't even need to lie. He will probably just follow Orochimaru without even hesitating. Tianyu also expressed his helplessness about this. After all, I wasn't very familiar with this kind of pretender in school. Instead, I often skipped class with Naruto and his gang. And even Tianyu couldn't think of how to help Sasuke improve his strength. Because the biggest cheat for Indra's reincarnation is Sharingan, and Sharingan requires severe mental stimulation. Sasuke's entire clan was dead before he opened a pair of Magatama. Uchiha Itachi even went blind and used Tsukuyomi to help Sasuke gain experience several times without letting him open another Magatama. There is nothing Tianyu can do about this heaven-defying qualification. I can't kill Naruto to open Sasuke's eyes, right? And at this time, Sasuke may not necessarily care about Naruto. It is estimated that except for Uchiha Itachi, no one else can shake Sasuke's heart. He has become a ruthless tool of revenge. But these have nothing to do with Tianyu. Because what I need is a soul containing huge chakra, not pink eye. He has no interest in things like pink eye at all. And when Tianyu himself has cultivated the light spot of the ninja world to the peak, it may not be possible to imitate the functions of Sharingan through six paths ninjutsu. After all, Sharingan's power also comes from the sacred tree. At this time, Kakashi handed the registration form for the Chunin exam to the three of them. This time, because there was no little Sakura joining, he didn't even ask the three of them if they wanted to participate. After filling it out, go back to ninja school to register. Take a good rest during this time. Kakashi looked at Tianyu and others with complex expressions flashing in their eyes. He shook his head and sighed. It's time for you to start training after the exam. Chapter 30 What he likes is from the domestic area, 5th update. Advertise here. Naruto raised his chest proudly when he heard what Kakashi said. Get out. It's only been half a year since I graduated. At this speed, who else? Naruto clenched his fist and said excitedly. I'm one step closer to becoming the Hokage. Do you think I can become the Hokage directly if I can defeat the old man? Tianyu rolled his eyes. You can't even beat the current Kakashi, but you still want to beat third generation. No matter how you say it, he is cage level. Although he is a cowardly Hokage who sits in the rear all year round, he is still a shadow. If Sannin doesn't return to the village, third generation will be the strongest. The fighting within Konoha over the years has almost equaled the fighting power of Sand Shinobi village. Little Sakura leaned against Tianyu and asked in a shy voice. Jun Tianyu, do you want to help you continue to practice in a while? Even if you go further, I can do it. Tianyu, the little beast who fooled Sakura, can improve the ninja's strength by practicing dual cultivation. Of course, it's not pure cheating, because Tianyu did improve the continuation level of a lot of lucky souls because of this. After all, Shingen represents love, and falling in love does help improve Shingen. And although the dual cultivation is fake, he can be regarded as an unfinished four souls Jade, and just using the magic repair method can bring a lot of benefits to little Sakura. At this time, Tianyu definitely lived up to his reputation as Tang Monk Flesh. It's just limited to love, cuddling, kissing and touching at most. Now that little Sakura's body is still growing, Tianyu is not that interested for the time being. As an extremely wealthy second generation, it is impossible for him to not experience the Ouran tea house in a legal world of red light district that is not inferior to the neon lights of his previous life. Those courtesans are all good-looking, highly educated, talented, and good at traditional skills such as music, tea ceremony, flower arrangement, poetry, calligraphy, and dance. However, they do not have character attribute bonuses. Therefore, Tianyu has long since become a rich man who has escaped from vulgar taste. What he likes now are the big-breasted JK twintails from the domestic area, preferably the ones with childlike faces. Well, in short, today's little Sakura has already completely fallen except for the last step. If Tianyu hadn't been cultivating her now, little Sakura would have lost her last step. The life of the rich is so unpretentious and boring. However, Naruto didn't know all this. He was naive and really thought that little Sakura and Tianyu were serious practitioners. At this time, he pointed at himself pitifully and said, Sakura, in fact, I also need to practice very much. I am very good now. I am good at ninjutsu, taijutsu, and illusion. And I can also do very powerful ninjutsu. Little Sakura turned her head and changed her face. Roll. Anyone who wants to practice ninjutsu with you is too naive. Mr. Tianyu's pair of demonic hands can help me improve my strength. Tianyu looked at Naruto sympathetically. He never knew that licking a dog, would lick it until there was nothing left. The shocked Naruto looked disappointed. He simply couldn't figure out why he was disliked by little Sakura even though he was stronger than Tianyu. Fortunately, Konohamaru's funny trio appeared in time to divert Naruto's attention. The four of them were playing around in the alley and soon made Naruto forget about the sadness of being a licking dog. Step aside. At this moment, an arrogant voice came out, you're blocking the road, little devil. Kankuro and Temari appeared in the alley. At this time, Kankuro looked at Konohamaru who was playing with an unhappy face. He hated children very much because of Gaara. He turned to look at Naruto and found that Naruto was wearing a ninja forehead protector. A sneer appeared on Kankuro's face. Are you genin from Konoha? Only then did Naruto and Sakura discover the Sand Shinobi village forehead protector that Kankuro was wearing on their heads. Seeing this, little Sakura asked nervously. Who are you and why do you appear in Konoha? Even ninjas from the allied powers shouldn't appear in other ninja villages at will, right? Temari smiled and took out his passport and shook it. We don't show up randomly, we are candidates to take the Chunin exam. Tamari looked at Tianyu behind and blushed. His handsome appearance made her heart ripple. Unlike the group of barbarians in the pirate world who only know how to fight, the Hokage world is a world where faces are judged. Tianyu noticed Tamari's gaze and smiled harmlessly. I'm Tianyu, nice to meet you. Tamari pointed at herself excitedly and asked. Are you asking me? Certainly. Konkuro's expression on the side suddenly changed. Let's go, Tamari. Gaara will be here soon. This dog coin actually used his sister in front of him. Tamari. Huh, wait a minute, I haven't finished talking yet. Well, my name is Tamari. Nice to meet you. Tianyu. I'll treat you to a meal later, Konoha's special delicacies. Tamari said shyly. Isn't this bad? Konkuro, who was planning to cause trouble, turned green. Naruto's expression wasn't much better either. On the contrary, little Sakura stood there with a smile on her face and said nothing. Because Tianyu has been pooing her, telling her that as a rich and famous family, she has long been forced by her father to marry more women to carry on the family line and carry forward the Tien family. In addition, little Sakura is the kind of character who is willing to give everything once she is recognized, so even though Sakura wants to tear Tianyu into pieces at this time, on the surface she still has the attitude of, I am a big woman. I look very generous. At this moment, a streak of yellow sand fell from the sky, as if a big hand was grabbing Tianyu. Chapter 31 Perfect Jinchuriki. Open black lens bracket first update close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Tianyu. Little Sakura exclaimed. Tianyu frowned. The whole person seemed to be teleporting and passing by the sand. Everyone looked up at the big tree beside the street. Gaara was covering her head and staring at Tianyu with murderous intent on her face. At this moment Shukaku in his mind was roaring crazily. Eat him, kid, kill him. Tamari below looked at Gaara in horror and quickly stopped her. Gaara, what are you doing? This is in Konoha. Don't take action at will. The murderous intent in Gaara's eyes skyrocketed. He didn't know why the mother in his body was so excited. Tianyu narrowed his eyes. He could guess that the Four Souls Jade would be an irresistible temptation for this monster type of being. Tianyu looked at Gaara warily, thinking in his mind. Are we going to start a fight here? This was when Gaara actually suppressed the murderous intention in her heart, and shouted to Konkuro and Tamari in a hoarse voice, let's go. After Gaara said that, he disappeared instantly. Konkuro and Tamari didn't dare to refute and hurriedly followed. Tianyu touched his chin and thought with some surprise. Perfect Jinchuriki. Tianyu didn't expect Gaara to suppress one tail easily. In other words, the relationship between Gaara and Shukaku is not as bad as imagined. Tianyu recalled the plot. It seems that the Gaara shown in the animation has been violent since she was a child, and it is really not that she suddenly lost control. Those violent scenes were either because he was too young to control the huge power of the tailed beast. Either it was because fourth Cage wanted to die and took the initiative to assassinate his own son, which eventually led to the death of his uncle, which finally made Gaara go berserk. Gaara also kept referring to Shukaku as his dead mother in the Chunin examination room. In addition, during the battle with Naruto, he passed the Su's technique and completely transformed into a tailed beast. This is truly something only a perfect Jinchuriki can achieve to this extent. Tianyu smacked his lips and looked thoughtfully at the direction Gaara was leaving. Naruto shook his fist at Gaara and the others with an angry look on his face. What? Attacking others all of a sudden? Tianyu patted little Sakura's butt carelessly and said with a smile. You go back first and practice well during this period. I will come back to you when the Chunin exam is over. At this time, Tianyu seemed like a scumbag. He put on his pants and sent little Sakura away. Little Sakura was a little disappointed, but she nodded obediently. After all, the current little Sakura was hired by him and was not even qualified to take the Chunin exam. But when Tianyu gets involved with Jonin, he can serve as a recommender for little Sakura to take the Chunin exam. Or just give little Sakura more tasks, and skip the exam and just go straight to Chunin. The Chunin exam is just a platform for countries to observe each other's strength. Not all genin must pass the exam to become Chunin, only the elite are eligible to take the Chunin exam. Naruto felt particularly disappointed that little Sakura gave up taking the Chunin exam. In his opinion, this was a good thing to become famous. But in fact, for civilian ninjas like Sakura, the Chunin exam is very dangerous. After all, this is considered a small war by default between the allies, and there is no such thing as friendship first. The next time, Tianyu gave up practicing the 6 styles and took a good rest for a week. During this period, except for Iruka who was seriously injured during the hands-on test because he was worried about the strength of Naruto and others, there were no other accidents. Ninjas from various ninja villages also began to arrive in Konoha. Time soon came to the day of the first exam. Tianyu and his group arrived at the ninja school early. The news that this year's new graduates were reported to take the exam caused a sensation in Konoha. Although in theory, as long as the number of tasks reaches the standard, the instructor Jonin can apply for the exam. But in fact, the dangers of the Chunin exam are not something that a newcomer who has just been a genin for less than a year can handle. But Tianyu understands very well. Among this generation of genin, except for himself, they are all direct descendants of all the major ninja clans. This is the trump card that Sarutobi Hiruzen has been planning for years to prepare for a blockbuster. Shikamaru and others not only represent the strength of Konoha's new generation, but also represent that Sarutobi Hiruzen has gathered the entire Konoha family and completely integrated Konoha. Since the Third Ninja War, in order to bring the Sarutobi clan to power, Sarutobi Hiruzen took the initiative to sign an unconditional peace treaty with Iwagakure in the event of victory, causing heavy losses to the major families. Later, he used the strategy of Golden Cicada to escape from his shell, resigned and supported the fourth generation to take office. This has caused the major ninja clans to have deep hostility towards Sarutobi Hiruzen, but since he has voluntarily abdicated, the major ninja clans cannot say much. But with the unexpected death of fourth generation, Sarutobi Hiruzen's shameless act of standing in front of the stage again directly aroused strong resistance from the major families. The older generation Ino Shika Nara Shikaku and others retired as a result, and Sarutobi Shinosuke, the Anbu captain, also died inexplicably. So since the Night of Nine Tails, Sarutobi Hiruzen's relationship with the major ninja clans has not been as harmonious as it is now. Until the Cloud Shinobi village mission came to visit. Sarutobi Hiruzen used a knife to kill Hyuga Hazashi and used it to scare the monkeys. This made the senior officials of each ninja clan worry that they would become cannon fodder in the war with Cloud Shinobi village. In the end, they had to compromise and choose to surrender to the third generation. They had no choice but to send their clansmen to Anbu en route, and the next generation of heirs were also sent to the ninja school to be brainwashed by the will of fire. Aburame was forced to leave by Danzo during this period. Now all the plans have been realized perfectly as envisioned. Ninetales also became the heir to the will of fire, controlled by the Hokage. Next, we only need to use the right to vote and the friendship with the daimyo to control the position of Hokage in the hands of the Sarutobi clan, and the entire Konoha can gradually transition from a public world to a family world belonging to the Sarutobi clan. This is a path that Sarutobi Hiruzen had planned since the death of second generation. A glorious road that helped the Sarutobi clan transform from a heaven-defying clan with no talent or inheritance limits to become the largest clan in the ninja world. Now this Chunin exam is when he shows his fangs to the ninja world. Chapter 32 My Genius is Beyond Your Imagination, second update. Advertise here. The group of people headed to the examination venue on the third floor. In the corridor, a group of genin gathered to watch the excitement. Tianyu pouted. He knew that his distant cousin was playing the role of a pig. Several people pulled him in. Sure enough, Shaoli fell to the ground looking helpless. Why are you stopping us from going in? The door god duo sneered. This is for your own good. You noobs genin took the Chunin exam just to embarrass yourself. Naruto suddenly shouted with an unhappy look on his face. Why do you say that? We are very strong. Let us in quickly. As soon as these words came out, the door god duo and Neji team, who were all pretending to be pigs, all rolled their eyes inwardly. Damn it, no one actually saw the illusion in front of them. Tianyu was also speechless. Naruto's mental energy is strong enough, but his brain is really not working well. He kicked Naruto on the butt and said speechlessly. Let's go, don't be embarrassed. Naruto staggered and glared at Tianyu dissatisfied. Why are you kicking me? Tianyu rolled his eyes. We just climbed 2 floors. The door god duo came here for the final selection of Konoha genin. If you haven't discovered such a basic trap, then you still have to take the Chunin exam. But in fact, Naruto, a bastard who could even remember Chakra's name wrongly, really didn't realize that he hadn't arrived at the registration classroom yet. Naruto. Really? This is only the 2nd floor. Then what are they doing around here? I thought they were at the registration office. Some of the genin who were watching looked ashamed, while others looked at Naruto as if he were a fool. I don't know if Tiantian's plan of pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger was successful, but Naruto's stupidity instantly penetrated everyone's hearts. Rock Lee stood up like a carp and appeared in front of Tianyu. Hey, you are indeed the student of Teacher Guy's old enemy. This passionate youth showdown will definitely be recorded in the history books. Where are you? Shaoli opened his eyes and saw that Tianyu in front of him had only a back figure. He even used a trot to speed up his speed. Damn it, this kind of Chunabu patient who has no one else around him is really easy to kill others. You have to stay away from him, otherwise the character of the warm man will easily collapse. Neji was now standing in front of Sasuke with his hands on his shoulders and a proud look on his face. That's right, you actually have the courage to take the exam. I'm looking forward to your next performance. Sasuke. Roll. Neji's face changed. His expression became a little livid. HMPH. Don't think that you are a genius just because you are number 1 in grade. My genius is beyond your imagination. Sasuke rolled his eyes and walked directly around Neji towards the stairs to the 3rd floor. Idiot. Neji didn't know why, but he felt that this guy was more arrogant than him, and his face suddenly became extremely gloomy. In this exam, I must tell him what it means that there is a world outside the sky, and there are people outside the world. Naruto walked up to Neji and swung around. He also wanted to feel the sense of accomplishment of being invited as a genius. Neji glared at Naruto impatiently. Go away. The tail of the crane must look like the tail of the crane. Naruto was immediately furious and rolled up his sleeves to F*K him. What did you say? However, At this time, Xiaoli stopped in front of Naruto with a swish. He said to Naruto in a sincere tone as if he had been through it before. Don't be impulsive, I came to take the Chunin exam this time because of him. Only by defeating him in the exam can we prove ourselves. Naruto nodded empathetically after hearing this, gritted his teeth and stared at Neji and snorted. I will definitely defeat him. Neji glanced at Naruto with disdain. The destiny of a person is determined when he is born. I am the genius and you are the tailgater. It's that simple. After he finished speaking, he walked towards the third floor without looking back. Naruto clenched his fists, suppressed his anger and chased Tianyu. Tiantian sighed. It would be great if Neji's character could change. Tianyu actually came to take the Chunin exam. I hope nothing happens to him. Xiaoli comforted him and said. Don't worry Tenten, we can take care of him during the exam, and that Uchiha Sasuke is also a genius, so he will be fine. Tiantian nodded worriedly. Hope so. Didn't you agree that you would go home and inherit the inheritance? Why did you come here to take such a dangerous exam? Tianyu didn't know that his cousin was already worried about his safety at this time. At this time, he had already registered the team and walked towards the examination room with an angry Naruto and Sasuke. Tianyu opened the door. If you look around, you'll see all the leaks you see. Well, they all look at you with hostility. Outside the examination room, Kakashi and Might Guy stood side by side. Might Guy joked to Kakashi. Kakashi, how is your disciple's mental endurance? That kind of solemn atmosphere will make the newcomers tremble. Kakashi frowned, his eyes filled with helplessness. Mental endurance. At this time, Naruto's arrogant shouting suddenly came from the examination room. With all due respect, everyone here is a happy person. Kakashi looked at Might Guy with his mouth wide open and shrugged. That's all. Chapter 33 Dream Ambassador Yakushi Kabuto, third update. Advertise here. As a good socialist young man, Shiyu would naturally not kill these poor allied ninjas for no reason. He has no shortcomings, he is just a kind-hearted person and he never takes action against his companions. At this time, Tianyu looked at the genins below who were either sneering, hostile, or looking at dead people, and suddenly showed a sad expression. Alas, I don't want to kill you either. Who told you to be my enemy? There seem to be some people who don't take it seriously. It seems that what Naruto said is not lethal enough. How about letting him add the sentence, duck shit, are you tired? Single quote dot. Forget it, these hicks probably don't understand Cantonese. Tianyu shook his head and gave up this tempting plan. Tianyu-kun. A gust of fragrant wind blew by, and a touch of softness fell into Tianyu's arms. The person who came was none other than Ino, and now that she was no longer under the control of little Sakura, she finally felt like she was the first to win. Shikamaru in the back looked unmotivated. Why are you here too? Naruto looked surprised. Huh. Shikamaru. Shoji, you are here too. Inuzuka Kiba also came over from the other side and shouted. Naruto. What do you mean? Do you want to be beaten? Behind him were Aburame Shino who was silent and Hinata who was staring at Ino with envy. The best person for Ju Shaoqiang to win is Hinata, who was saved by a hero since childhood. For this opportunity, he invited Naruto to dinner. As for whether this encounter was arranged, it's something that hinders Tianyu's birds. At that time, he was a wealthy merchant noble independent of the Konoha system, and Sarutobi Hiruzen did not dare to do anything to him. As for Ino, as long as she is handsome, if she is both handsome and active, Ino will stick to her earlier than little Sakura. In front of Tianyu, a scumbag who was empowered by big data from his past life, these girls in the ninja world are as easy to bully as little sheep. It's just that Tianyu didn't want to provoke these direct descendants of the rich clan because of his talent issues. After all, you cannot give up a forest for a blade of grass. With her previous family background and strength, she would never be allowed to take a concubine. But it's different now. Tianyu smiled and grabbed Ino's slim waist. I've become thinner recently. Ino's eyes suddenly widened and she looked at Tianyu with surprise. Over the past 6 years, Tianyu has always maintained the image of a modest gentleman. Although he often flirts with others, he keeps a certain distance from them. This unsatisfactory and heartbreaking feeling makes them, a group of little girls, unable to stop. As a result, Tianyu now took the initiative to hook up with her, which made Ino so excited that she couldn't believe it. She blushed shyly and turned her head away and whispered. Maybe it's too hard to do the task. However, she didn't see that when she turned her head away, Tianyu was blinking at Hinata who was peeking over. For a time, the two girls fell into YY at the same time. Only Shikamaru curled his lips in disgust. Women are too troublesome, especially women who are too beautiful. At this time, Tamari in the crowd saw all of Tianyu's sexy tricks. She glared at Tianyu with contempt, and all the goodwill she had left before was completely exhausted. He's still a playboy. Konkuro immediately smiled when he saw Tamari's disdainful tone. That's right, you big radish, don't be fooled. Gaara shouted. Shut up. You could clearly hear the anger in his voice, but there was no expression on his face. Gaara's sand armor covers her whole body with sand so that she won't be able to expose her crazy emotions. Even at this moment, Shukaku was already screaming crazy inside him. Tianyu glanced at Gaara calmly. A trace of greed flashed unconsciously in his eyes. Tailed beast, if you were also a Jinchuriki, maybe you could directly purify the tailed beast bit by bit and turn it into the power of your 4 souls. At this time, Yakushi Kabuto came forward to collect information in the name of Senior. Tianyu looked at Yakushi Kabuto secretly. This is the dream-fulfilling ambassador who single-handedly set off 4 wars in the ninja world. If it weren't for the strong men of impure world reincarnation he provided, Obito would not have rashly launched a war against the ninja world. Counting on those white Zetsu. Obito was stupid to do that. According to Orochimaru, Kabuto's strength is about 50 to 50 equal to Kakashi's at this time. In this way, there is a real possibility of Naruto overturning against Yakushi Kabuto. After all, under the Super Shadow, what is being fought is intelligence and combat consciousness. Although Naruto's chakra is strong, it's useless if it can't hit others. Kabuto seemed to notice Tianyu's observation. When he was introducing the lineup of candidates to Naruto and others, he raised his head and smiled at Tianyu. Tianyu smacked his lips. It's really hard not having perception skills. I am not a sentient ninja, nor do I have the relevant talents or bloodline. It's not like he wasn't practicing observation haki during this time. But even with Shadow Clone, Tianyu couldn't get started, as if there was still something missing. According to Doflamingo, observation haki is similar to an intuition. It is not like feeling the flow of air like paper arts. It is more like a mysterious sixth sense or breath. There is something similar to the Kagura mind of the Uzumaki clan. General practice of observation haki requires closing the 5 senses and then using the body to feel the attack. As a result, Tianyu had countless memories of being beaten, but there was no sign of awakening observation haki. This made Tianyu depressed to admit that he was still an ordinary civilian ninja. Because the sentient ninjas in the ninja world basically rely on blood talents, such as the Hyuga clan and the Uzumaki clan. Others rely on secret techniques and 5 senses, such as the Aburame clan and the Inuzuka clan. If there are no above 2, then basically only some lucky guys upgrade on their own and suddenly awaken the chakra perception ability. But it is a pity that Tianyu does not have bloodline, and it seems that he is not within the scope of upgraded. The power of the 4 souls allows him to sense that Yakushi Kabuto is dangerous. However, there is no accurate value for how dangerous it is. Tianyu glanced at the 3 sound ninjas who were about to move, and silently took 2 steps back. As a result, the next second. However, the 3 sound ninjas passed through the gap in the corridor and rushed straight towards Tianyu's team. Chapter 34. Brother bribed the examiner, 4th update. Advertise here. Looking at Paul Korchagin who was coming towards him, Tianyu's face turned dark. Are you sick? Shouldn't you go fight Yakushi Kabuto who told you about your food? He was complaining crazily and unconsciously in his heart. But he selectively forgot that not long ago Naruto said, everyone here is rubbish. The 3 sound ninjas were sitting at that time. Faced with Shinbin, who was hanging a bell to interfere with his judgment, Tianyu turned around and avoided the shooting as if by coincidence. Paper arts relies on the body's perception of air flow, and sound interference has no effect on Tianyu. Sasuke on the other side quickly pulled out a kunai and knocked down the shuriken thrown by Sasuke. Only Naruto yelled, "Who?" Then, he attached chakra to his feet and kicked out towards 6 paths. Nani! The huge force instantly kicked Toss's porous armor. Feeling the powerful power, Toss's face changed drastically. He didn't expect Naruto's reaction speed and strength to be so terrifying. After just one encounter, he flew out in the opposite direction at a faster speed. Bang! Bang! The embarrassed Toss smashed a series of tables and chairs, and many candidates in the straight line were affected. Tianyu twitched the corner of his mouth. The inability to control the surge of chakra is considered a weakness, right? It's easy to beat someone to death. Next to Naruto, Yakushi Kabuto's pupils shrank. He seems to be surprised that the discrepancy in his own information seems to be a bit too huge. Those. Jin and Sak looked at Toss who fell in the crowd in shock. All the candidates in the room looked at Naruto solemnly, no wonder they dared to be so arrogant, his strength was indeed pretty good. However, the ninja world has a natural disdain for taijutsu. Although they were surprised by Naruto's power, they were not afraid of it. Shikamaru smacked his lips. Is Naruto's progress a bit outrageous? Inuzuka Kiba didn't feel anything at all, he just gloated and smiled at Naruto. Hey, if you ruin the exam room, you will definitely be disqualified from the exam. Naruto became anxious when he heard this. What does it have to do with me? He attacked me first, and the position he was standing in was so handsome that I couldn't help but kick him. Toss, who had just vomited a mouthful of blood and got up, suddenly vomited another mouthful of bruised blood. TM deceives people too much. He rolled up his sleeves. He looked at Naruto with fierce eyes. Whatever I say today, I want Naruto to experience the secrets of the ninjutsu of the Sound Ninja Village. The candidates who were affected nearby frowned and took a few steps back. They didn't want to be affected by the battle. And at this moment, with a bang, a group of examiners descended from the sky. Stop it, you idiots. Morino Ihiki looked at the messy examination room with a pale face. He just wants to show off, and show off his power. In less than 2 minutes, the examination room was gone. Morino Ihiki looked at Naruto and Toss and was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. He snorted angrily with a sullen face. You have a chance to win the Chunin exam. Anyone who takes action now will be disqualified from the exam and will not be allowed to take the Chunin exam for the rest of their lives. Now, go to the examination room next door. Tianyu shrugged and walked towards the examination room next door with a smile. Ta stared at Naruto with an angry look on his face, suppressing the pain in his chest and followed him. The task assigned to him by Orochimaru has not yet been completed, and he does not want to be liquidated by Orochimaru afterwards. Morino Ihiki introduced the rules of the exam to many candidates with a gloomy face. When Naruto learned that he was going to take the written test, his whole body started shaking like chaff. He looked at Tianyu. Tianyu also looked at Naruto with a Buddhist look on his face. Yes, both of them were scumbags who skipped classes side by side. Among the 6-person team that skipped classes back then, only Shino and Shikamaru were able to solve these super topic questions. Tianyu even saw high numbers in the test paper. Shit. What a piece of shit. Shouldn't things like shuriken be based on intuition? Who the hell has time to ask you to make a formula to calculate a parabola? Sasuke looked at Naruto and Tianyu who were flirting with each other and suddenly felt a sudden realization. I see. Neither of these guys know how to do it. And I am number 1 in my grade. Sasuke looked at the test paper and said. Neither can I. However, Sasuke's brain in analyzing intelligence is still very useful. He quickly determined through Morino Ihiki's rules introduction that this exam should test the ninja's intelligence gathering ability. Looking at Naruto who was scratching his head, Sasuke raised the corner of his mouth. After all, I have something better than those 2 crane tails. At least I am smart. Just when he was about to use Sharingan to cheat, an examiner walked directly to him and looked around. The next second, his test paper was replaced with an anonymous full-mark test paper filled with correct answers. Sasuke. He looked at the examiner with a blinded expression, and the examiner also blinked at him. Then the examiner put his hands behind his back, pretending to be trying to catch the cheater, and slowly walked to the side and sat down as if there was no one else around. The examiners holding writing boards seemed to be blind and did not show any surprised expressions. As if he had thought of something, Sasuke looked up at Naruto and Tianyu with a MMP look on his face. As expected, there was also an examiner sitting back slowly in front of the 2 of them. Tianyu seemed to feel Sasuke's gaze. He turned back to Sasuke and gave a thumbs up, and said silently. Don't worry, I bribed the examiner. Sasuke. Chapter 35 Why don't they play according to the routine? Open black lens bracket 5th update close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Tianyu looked at the test paper in his hand and felt a little sad. Because he became stronger, he almost forgot that he was a rich 2nd generation. Gathering intelligence. Just a few baskets, wouldn't it be nice to directly bribe the examiner? If everyone can get it done with just one B-level mission, do they need to write it themselves? Naive. This is the core of the word ninja, and I want money. There were quite a few people who noticed this scene before them. Especially the 3 sound ninjas who had been staring at Naruto were so depressed that they wanted to vomit blood. Damn it, Konoha didn't even cover up his cheating. It's so TM deceiving. Examiner. The 3 of them cheated. Sak raised his finger angrily, pointed at Tianyu and the other 3 and yelled. Everyone's eyes were focused on Tianyu and his party. Sasuke pressed his test paper nervously. However, Morino Ihiki on the stage glanced indifferently and said. Give them a cheating credit. Yes. The examiner below grinned and drew on the notebooks of Tianyu and the others. Sak was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. The 5 chances of being caught and eliminated that you said are used here, right? Cheating once is of no use, the other party's paper is full. Tianyu grinned with a mocking expression. How can you shake your own bug? Collecting intelligence does not say that you cannot bribe the enemy to obtain intelligence. This kind of bribery technique is not something that poor people like you can imagine. Sark sat down with a twisted expression. The rest of the candidates had strange expressions on their faces, and Naruto was laughing very unconsciously. Everyone's mood for those who wanted to beat Tianyu to death became much higher. Soon, in the weird atmosphere, only the last half hour was left. Morino Ihiki knocked on the blackboard and began to create pressure on the candidates by using consecutive sittings and being banned from taking the Chunin exam for life. Unable to bear the heavy pressure, one candidate began to give up, and the rest of the team also lost their qualifications to take the exam. Tianyu frowned. That's not right. I have too many leaks to relieve the problem, right? He turned to Naruto and winked. Come on, now is the time for you to give them some blood. However, at this time, Naruto got full marks on the first 9 questions. How could he worry about the entire team being wiped out due to a blank roll this time? Therefore, Naruto stared at Tianyu who winked at him with question marks, completely ignoring what he meant. Tianyu soon realized this problem. Naruto in the original book turned in all his hopes on the last question because he handed in a blank test. Now Naruto's test paper has been replaced by a full score test paper under his own control. It didn't matter whether he got the last question right or wrong. Why did he need to get some chicken blood? Seeing that more and more of my leaks are disappearing. Tianyu slammed the table with a decisive look on his face. Everyone's eyes turned to Tianyu. I saw him yelling angrily with sharp eyes. Don't underestimate me. I won't run away. I want to participate. Even if I can only be a genin for a lifetime, I will become a Hokage in one breath. I'm not afraid at all. The entire examination room fell into a dead silence. Tianyu smiled crookedly. His wave of Naruto's mouth escape must be able to influence many leaks to stay in this exam, right? The next second, there was a crash. The already quite empty classroom once again stood up and a group of candidates walked out of the entrance of the examination room. Tianyu blinked. MD, why don't they follow the routine? Is it true that only the words spoken by Naruto's mouth carry the buff bonus? A grass ninja who passed by Tianyu paused for a moment. Tui, he sneered with an MMP look on his face, you are standing and talking without hurting your back. You know you will definitely survive, so you tricked us into staying here. There are no good people in Konoha, bah. Tianyu sat down sadly. FK, I even forgot. Now I am no longer in the same group as these scumbag students. Having scored perfect marks on the test paper, I have lost the empathy with the bad students. Alas, I was careless. After Tianyu's words, the number of candidates who were already few was suddenly reduced once again. Almost all the ninjas who were unsure or did not have the village's mandatory requirements abstained. Tianyu looked at the melancholy expressions on the faces of less than half of the candidates in the examination room. Is this like shooting yourself in the foot? All my green leeks have grown legs and run away. Morino Ihiki coughed twice and glanced at Tianyu before announcing that the remaining candidates had passed the assessment. He looked at the annoyed Tianyu and thought to himself. Did this guy do it on purpose? First break the exam rules by bribing them, and then stimulate all the candidates to abstain to weaken their opponents. This scheming person is a good candidate to join the torture department. Tianyu still doesn't know at this time. In Morino Ihiki's eyes, he has become an old yinbi who is as familiar with people's hearts as himself and is good at psychologically forcing his enemies, manipulating their spirits, and torturing them. Chapter 36 Summoning. Violet Princess Violet. Open black lens bracket first update close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Entrance to the Forest of Death. 1 day has passed since the first exam. With Anko breaking through the window, the first exam came to an end. Anko looked at the less than 40 qualified candidates below and was very satisfied. Then he waved his hand and said that for the next exam, I will get you to less than 10 people. And then now, Tianyu looked at the sporadic team with sighs on their faces. Damn, there are too few people, there are only 39 people in 13 teams. You must know that at the beginning of the Death Forest in the anime, there were 26 teams of 78 people. As a result, Tianyu suddenly lost half of his body. Even finding such a large forest is troublesome. But now that the matter is over, Tianyu can no longer persuade third generation to add a plug or something like that. He could only console himself that genin, a group of noobs, didn't have much to gain. He was just doing an experiment, so it didn't matter how much. Wait until the life and death certificate is signed. Tianyu found Anti-Snake, a Konoha model worker, among the crowd. This time Konoha's collapse plan not only weakened Tsunagaku's strength, but also weakened Tsunagaku's strength. He also cleared away the decayed high-level officials of Konoha, and by the way, he also pulled away the time-bomb hatred of Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke from Konoha village. Not only that, but the older generation backbones such as Inoshika Cho who had resigned have returned to the front line. It can be said that this time with Konoha's collapse plan, Konoha's strength has at least tripled. Tianyu thought of what Sasuke said in the anime, the four shadows of the dirty land. I probably understand what your purpose was at that time. Tianyu also understood, this is the real hero who secretly protects Konoha. Tianyu was unconsciously moved by Orochimaru's belief in righteousness and his devotion to Konoha. Look, this guy is the secret hero. Compared to a weasel who doesn't distinguish between right and wrong, gets caught up in political struggles, and eventually affects the innocent, old, weak, sick and disabled, Orochimaru is definitely the heir to the will of fire. Just thinking. Orochimaru turned to Tianyu and smiled. Tianyu suddenly looked away decisively, muttering in his heart. It's better to separate from Naruto and Sasuke when you enter the examination room. You can't beat them anyway, so why go and be tortured? He set his sights on other teams. There are 13 teams in total. The Konoha 12 boys took up 4 teams, Yakushi Kabuto took up 1 team, Tsunagaku Gaara took up 1 team. The team of cannon fodder in Taki Ninja Village, the team of Orochimaru and Kaoru in Grass Ninja Village, the team of delivering food to Gaara in Rain Shinobi Village, and the team of Odo Ninja Village. There are 2 remaining teams, 1 each for Konoha Village and Tsunagaku. Tianyu has not been seen in the anime, and he is probably just cannon fodder who died somewhere. Tianyu cursed secretly. There are too few, and there are too many to start with. He set his sights on the 2 abandoned children from Sound Ninja Village, Taki Ninja Village and Yakushi Kabuto's team. These few should be considered easy to pinch. With the examiner's whistle, candidates who entered from various entrances began to advance into the Forest of Death. Due to the scarcity of the team, finding the location of the enemy has become a difficult problem in this exam. Yao Shi, find them out. Naruto, who had just entered the examination room, crossed his fingers and said, multi-shadow clone technique. Bang. Densely dense Naruto shadow clone covered this forest. At first glance, there were at least thousands of them. Tianyu's face darkened, he coughed twice and patted Naruto's shoulder and said urgently. Our strength is so strong, we should act separately. When the time comes, we will gather in front of the tower and collect scrolls each to see who collects more. Naruto's eyes lit up. Okay, your method is good. He doesn't stipulate that you can only grab one set of scrolls. Each of us grabs one set, which will shock Mr. Kakashi and the others. After Naruto finished speaking, he waved his hand directly. Thousands of shadow clones swept in all directions. Tianyu rolled his eyes and moved away from the two scourges among the shadow clone. Do you really think this exam is all about Genin? What's left now basically has Chunon's strength. Without Nine Tails as a power bank, this method of using shadow clone is the same as delivering food. Tianyu bit his finger and slapped it on the ground. Summoning technique. Bang. A graceful and sexy lady wearing flamenco dance costume appeared in front of Tianyu. Former princess of Dressrosa, Violet of the Don Quixote family. Although Tianyu doesn't have sensing ninjutsu, his summoning beast does. After signing an agreement with Doflamingo, you can safely direct all members of the summoning Don Quixote family. And Violet, the user with the stare fruit ability, can undoubtedly help him solve this problem. The clairvoyance within a range of 4,000 kilometers is much more powerful than the Byakugan. Violet's outfit looked out of place in the forest. She looked around curiously, then moved toward Tianyu charmingly and teased him. You are more romantic than I thought when you call people over in this environment. Her eyes flickered, her fingers gently touched Tianyu's chest twice, and she blew gently. It's not impossible to get here, but what if someone sees me? I seem to see a lot of people running around in the forest. Tianyu rolled his eyes and held down Violet's jade hand that had reached nowhere. Doflamingo, this guy, even resorted to a honey trap in order to get the training methods of ninjutsu. Violet seemed a little disappointed, then she asked Tianyu with a sweet smile. Then why did Lord Tianyu come to me? Tianyu looked at Violet who had a fever and smiled. Suddenly, one of his hands naturally passed through the gap in the dance skirt and directly pressed on her breasts to play with it. Violet's eyes widened, as if she didn't expect Tianyu to be so direct. The sudden attack made her whole body soften. Tianyu fiddled with his fingers. If you don't eat the meat delivered to your door, you won't eat it. Who doesn't eat it if it's free? Anyway, you don't have to take responsibility for yourself. You need to pay a price for teasing yourself. He smiled and said to Violet. Of course I have something to do with you. Help me find the locations of everyone in this forest and share them with me. I know your situation and your purpose. If you want Dressrosa to be rebuilt, maybe you can trust me. Once. Chapter 37. Isn't the strong melon sweet? Just quench your thirst. Open black lens bracket second update close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Violet, who had originally planned to resist, froze on the spot. She looked at Tianyu in confusion, wondering what he knew. Tianyu smiled slightly. You can use your ability to see what I'm thinking now. Violet was not polite and ignored the throbbing in her chest. She touched the tips of her index finger and thumb to form a circle-like gesture similar to the OK gesture, and placed it between her eyes. This is the prerequisite for her to use the mind observation technique. As long as the target is within the visual field of the ability user, the heart of the scene target will be naked, and the inner information will be read instantly. Regardless of whether the opponent is conscious or not, or whether he is lying, the person with the ability can read what is in his current mind. How can it be? Violet looked at Tianyu in shock. She saw in Tianyu's mind a picture of Doflamingo's defeat and the future of Dressrosa's restoration. Tianyu smiled calmly at Violet and said, your brother-in-law and father are not dead yet, and your niece is still alive. As long as the problem of Doflamingo is solved, Dressrosa can regain its kingdom. Violet asked Tianyu excitedly, will you help me defeat him? She was so relieved to see Doflamingo's miserable look in Tianyu's mind. Unexpectedly, Tianyu shook his head. No, I will not. Violet's expression changed. Tianyu said without any politeness. The Don Quixote family is still useful to me. Not only will I not eradicate them, but I will also vigorously support them. It is not impossible to even push them to the position of Lord of the World. Tianyu is a capitalist heir, and capitalists only have interests in their eyes. The Doflamingo family is the bridge between themselves and the pirate world. Tianyu is not sure whether the passage to the pirate world will be disconnected if the Doflamingo family is destroyed. So it is impossible for Tianyu to make such a big sacrifice for a woman. Violet looked angry. Then what do you mean? Tianyu said calmly. The destruction of the Don Quixote family and the reconstruction of Dressrosa are two different things. Violet was stunned. What's the meaning? Tianyu used force on his hand, and Violet groaned. I am a businessman who believes in profit first. Dressrosa is only a big place. If Doflamingo has better development, it is nothing more than an island. Your sister is dead, and the living people are still struggling. The scene you see is 2 years in the future, which means that the people you see will continue to suffer for more than 2 years. But if I intervene, I may be able to resolve this matter in advance. Whether you want to avenge the dead or compromise for the sake of the living, you decide for yourself. A word of advice, if you refuse, that scene in the future will probably never happen again. Violet had a look of resentment on her face after hearing this. He knew that the other party was threatening her, but she didn't think that the other party was lying or bragging. She originally chose to join the Don Quixote pirates to save her father's life. She had been the Don Quixote family's killer for so many years, and there was no turning back. She glanced at Tianyu and closed her eyes silently. Tianyu raised the corners of his mouth and praised. Wise choice. Then he directly used the summoning technique to summon out a whole set of wooden houses, and walked in with the already limp Violet in his arms. This place is still on the outskirts of the Death Forest, and Tianyu was not worried about anyone coming back to disturb him. Soon, the sound of suppressed breathing came directly from the dark forest cabin. Until the early morning of the next day, Tianyu walked out of the wooden house comfortably, followed by Violet with a flushed face. Isn't the twisted melon sweet? Bah, just quench your thirst. Who cares if it's sweet or not? Do you understand the master's mission? Tianyu stretched and ordered to Violet. All the teams should have stopped now. Use your clairvoyance to check everyone's location, and then pass the memory to me. Yes. Violet nodded and quickly used her clairvoyance ability to record everyone's location and the topographic map of the Death Forest, and then transmitted it to Tianyu's mind. The ability to stare at the fruit can take in all scenes within a radius of 4,000 kilometers, which is many times stronger than the Byakugan's perspective ability. In Tianyu's opinion, this fruit ability should be an ability category between Tensagen and Byakugan. Tianyu has asked Doflamingo to help him collect a devil fruit. He now has a very interesting conjecture that needs to be confirmed, that is, devil fruit is probably the tailed beast in the pirate world. If this is the case, it means that the light spot in your mind is likely to be able to be used for your own use. Tianyu waved Violet back to the pirate world. He looked in a certain direction and smacked his lips with a strange expression. As expected, he was F***ed over. Poor Naruto, what did you think you were doing by leaning over? Yes, in Violet's memory, the unlucky Naruto and Sasuke were left unconscious in a dilapidated ruins. Next to them were squatting 3 sound ninjas, gnashing their teeth and waiting for dawn. Tianyu looked at the time. Very good, there are still a few hours until dawn, no rush. He looked at the bunch of leeks closest to him, stamped his feet and disappeared. Chapter 38. Lend me your soul. Open black lens bracket 3rd update close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Konoha Village, Hokage Building. Sarutobi Hiruzen held a pipe in his mouth and silently put away the several mission completion books sent to him by his subordinates. B-level mission, help Tianyu, Uchiha Sasuke, and Uzumaki Naruto successfully pass the first competition. Bounty of 200,000 taels. This is already the upper limit of B-level tasks. In fact, the difficulty of the task cannot even reach C level, but it can't stand up to people who have money. Naruto's poor academic performance, Sarutobi Hiruzen still has a bit of a bad mind. So when Tianyu found Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 2 shameless guys hit it off again, and immediately had the same encounter as Kakashi. Have all 6 teams in Konoha Village entered the second exam? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the information happily. There are 13 groups in total. No matter how stupid you are, there are still 2 teams guaranteed. When the nobles and wealthy businessmen from all over the world take a look, Konoha's task volume will increase again. I heard that Sand Shinobi Village is so poor that the Cage needs to dig mines himself. Tisk tisk, let me see who dares to say that I, the Hokage, am old. Examiner. Hokage-sama. An examiner appeared anxiously at the door. Something happened. A candidate died outside the examination room. According to Anko-sama, it seems that it was the S-class rebel ninja Orochimaru who did it. What? Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression changed. Where are the Anko people? Terminate the exam immediately. I know that apprentice very well. After the death of the 4th generation, the one who called for the Hokage the most was Orochimaru. In order to keep his position as Hokage, he had no choice but to kill his favorite disciple, but unfortunately he relented in the end and let him go. His strength now is far less than it was then, but Orochimaru's strength has been improving, and he has no confidence in driving him away again. The examiner said solemnly. Master Anko said that Orochimaru has a crush on the descendant of the Uchiha clan, and said that if the exam is suspended, Orochimaru will take revenge. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face turned pale when he heard this. Sasuke was his insurance against Naruto going berserk. But as an S-class rebellious ninja with 1 man against a whole village, Sarutobi Hiruzen did not want to conflict with Orochimaru. Go. Arrange people to find out Jiraiya's whereabouts. Yes. Only the legendary Sannin can deal with the legendary Sannin. If Jiraiya can be found, maybe things will turn around. My disciple is an ostrich, but if he is found, he will probably take action. After all, he is the most honest one. Sarutobi Hiruzen had a gloomy face, and the joy of making a small fortune disappeared in an instant. He summoned several elite Anbu and quickly rushed towards the forest of death. Good morning. Tianyu showed his big white face to the 3 ninjas wearing hats and carrying umbrellas. The 3 members of Rain Shinobi Village who were being cautious and vigilant suddenly jumped up and quickly retreated into a defensive formation. Konoha Shinobi, is that you? The leader, Shiyu, stared at Tianyu with wide eyes and an angry look on his face. This is the Dogecoin team, even if they are arrogant before the exam, they also openly cheat. These small ninja villages took the Chunin exam with the idea of sacrifice, wanting to show off the country's military strength. As a result, the other party cheated blatantly, which was so damn irritating. However, Shiger still looked around very vigilantly and asked calmly. Stop hiding, I've seen you. Before coming to Konoha, they had naturally collected a lot of information. The strongest member of the team in front of me is the genius of the Uchiha clan. And according to the intelligence records, Tianyu and Naruto are both behind the scenes. Now that Tianyu has stepped forward, he must be the one Uchiha and Huangmao used as bait. Wisely, he looked at Tianyu with an expression that he had already taken control of the whole situation and snorted coldly. Let your teammates come out, I've seen them. Tianyu looked at Shiger with a strange expression. As expected of the ninja world, this brain is better than that of a pirate. If you put it in front of those guys in the pirate world who are all about muscles, their first reaction must be, FK, he's alone, F*K him. How could he still know how to deceive people like he is now? It seems that dual cultivation of soul and body is indeed better than pure body training. At least it is smarter. Tianyu loosened his joints and showed a kind smile on his face. Don't worry, it's just me. I'm just asking a few people to lend me something so I can do an experiment. It'll be quick. Shiger's eyes became dangerous. Just you. He suddenly laughed ferociously and threw the 1000-machine umbrella behind him into the sky and roared. Then you go to hell. Ninja techniques are like rain and dew. Countless thousands of books gush out from the rotating umbrellas like drizzle. Under the control of Rain Shinobi, they gathered together and shot towards Tianyu. Tianyu chuckled and walked straight towards Rain Shinobi. He was like a piece of paper moving through the dense Chinban rain, which made people's scalp numb just by looking at him. 3 Rain Shinobi's expressions changed drastically. Let's take action together. The two people traveling together through the myriad manifestations into the sky in an instant. Thousands of books poured down from the sky towards Tianyu from all directions, blocking all his movement tracks. Shiger laughed ferociously. I'll see how you hide. However, Tianyu just glanced at it lightly and immediately stood there and closed his eyes. Iron body. Thousands of books fell on Tianyu and instantly bent and fell to the ground. The faces of Rain Shinobi and the other 3 people suddenly changed drastically. Nani? How is that possible? Run. However, the next second, Tianyu appeared in front of the captain in an instant, and he pinched the opponent's neck with one hand. Tianyu looked at Captain Rain Shinobi, who looked frightened indifferently, and slowly said, Lend me your soul. Chapter 39. Girl, do you believe in light? Open black lens bracket. 4th update. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. With Tianyu's palm exerting force, Rain Shinobi's neck was instantly broken. The second and third vortexes in my mind felt an influx of magical power respectively. A hint of ecstasy flashed in Tianyu's eyes. It's true. As expected, the light spot representing the physical body divided the physical energy in the chakra with the death of Rain Shinobi. Tianyu could feel that this physical energy did not directly increase the strength of the physical body, but was integrated into Tianyu's physical body like vitality. Talent. Upper limit. Lifespan. Shi Yu was thoughtful. Chakra is a one mixture of physical energy and spiritual energy. The spiritual training in InuYasha's world only improves spiritual energy. Therefore, even though Tianyu's spiritual energy has reached the level of Jonin, his chakra amount is only barely Chunin. The reason is because Shiyu's physical energy does not have that much. To put it simply, the amount of chakra that exceeds the Chunin level cannot be extracted from cells at one time. The function of the third light spot is to increase the upper limit of one's physical body's potential. As the light spot increases, one's vitality will gradually move towards a higher level. Sage body. Tianyu understood instantly. The third light point is to evolve your body in the direction of sage body. He can help him, a native of the ninja world, break the shackles of blood and reach and surpass the Otsutsuki clan. Tianyu looked at the remaining 2 Rain Shinobi with burning eyes. One of them took out a scroll of heaven and put it on the ground in horror. Here's the scroll. Let's quit. However, what responded to them was Tianyu's Heshan smile and the terrifying physical skills from the world of body refining. 10 seconds later, satisfied, Tianyu took the scroll in his hand and walked towards the next group of genin strongholds in his memory. And just when Tianyu was cutting leaks in secret, Hinata's team in the other direction is running away like crazy. Inuzuka Kiba held Akamaru in his arms and roared angrily towards the back. Damn it, we have already given the scroll to you. Why are you still chasing us? Behind them, Gaara was sitting on a pile of sand, staring at the group of people with a ferocious expression as if he were a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Die. Balls of sand rushed towards several people like waves, smashing the branches behind them into pieces. Inuzuka Kiba's face turned pale. He gritted his teeth and shouted to Hinata. Hinata, hurry, find someone. Go to Sasuke and the others for help. Hinata bit her lip and nodded. Then she formed a seal and opened her white eyes to quickly search the surrounding environment. And in another direction, Team Neji returned to the originally set meeting point. Neji asked Tiantian and Xiao Li, what do you think? They both shook their heads at the same time. Neji looked a little depressed. If he had known, he wouldn't have let the 3 cockroaches go without being pretentious. 13 teams are too few. After excluding Konoha, there are only 7 teams left. It seems that it is not easy to simply obtain scrolls from other villages. Neji pondered for a moment and then said to the two of them. Follow me and get the scroll first. Xiao Li and Tiantian nodded, having no objections to Neji's decision. At this time, the Ino-Shika-Cho trio was targeted. Ino carefully explored the surroundings and asked Shikamaru, who was standing aside. Haven't you found it yet? As long as we find Naruto, we can get the scroll, right? Shikamaru thought about Naruto's kick, and then thought about Sasuke. He lamented in his heart. Why do you think Team Sasuke is weaker than us? Teams began to gather in one direction under the wings of Tianyu, the butterfly. At this time, Tianyu was leisurely following 2 genin from Grass Ninja Village who were running away wildly. Damn it, they are all monsters. Let alone trying to grab the scroll, just keeping your own scroll is enough. How about we admit defeat? Don't make trouble, we still carry the prestige of the village. Then please follow us first. This time we will find a weaker team to follow and win in one fell swoop. What if the woman loses the scroll? Then it's not our responsibility. It's all on her. She's just a burden anyway. Tianyu from behind shook his head while listening to the conversation between the two. Small villages are the norm in the ninja world. Konoha's years have been nothing but false peace. It's no wonder that Orochimaru is anxious to kill Sarutobi Hiruzen. Probably in his view, Sarutobi Hiruzen is no longer enough to bring Konoha to victory. The next ninja war is coming. Tianyu, who grew up in a family of arms dealers, naturally knew more. The Third Ninja War started with the signing of a peace treaty between Konoha and Cloud Shinobi, and it was completely ended when Hyuga Hazashi died. But in fact, this is just a cessation of war between big countries, and small villages are still hired by capital and nobles to start crazy wars, otherwise the Tianyu family would not have the money to be like this. Although Tianyu does not think of himself as a bad person, in fact, his identity is not much different from Doflamingo in the pirate world. I won't kill Borin, but Borin will die because of me. Tianyu sighed and pulled out 2 demon-breaking arrows. Now that you're here, you are of no use. The purple arrows pierced the dawn and killed Shonglin's 2 teammates on the ground. These 2 don't count, this one counts as direct killing. Tianyu looked at the trembling Shonglin below and showed a compassionate smile. Girl, do you believe in light? Chapter 40. Being paralyzed, Naruto becomes black. Open black lens bracket 5th update close black lens bracket. Advertise here. After taking care of the leaks, Tianyu quickly rushed towards Naruto and Sasuke. He needed to get to where Naruto and Sasuke were left before the sun came up. When they arrived at the location in their memory, Naruto and Sasuke were indeed still in the ruins. He casually carried the 2 of them to the nearby tree hole and threw them away. Then he gave Naruto and Sasuke 2 slaps each and gave them a heartwarming wake-up call. Hey, na Luduo, Sass, get up, don't sleep, the exam is over. The 3 sound ninjas in the grass in the distance have black streaks all over their heads. Sasuke will be killed by the other party before he gets there, right? However, at this moment, after being attacked, the curse mark on Sasuke's neck immediately began to spread slowly throughout his body. Tianyu chuckled and prepared to drag the still unconscious Naruto back to prevent him from being accidentally injured by Urzu, who was about to get up and show off. Then he noticed that black curse marks began to appear on Naruto's body. Tianyu, what's the FK? Damn, you are such an Orochimaru. Eat 2 at once. Etc. Tianyu's face darkened. He suddenly remembered that Ant Snake came back this time on the pretext of finding a body for himself to solve the problem of Konoha Shinobi. In the original work, he saw the Naruto Nine-Tails seal and immediately realized that Naruto was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. As a result, when he saw signs of Nine-Tails going berserk, he helped the village upgrade the seal for free. After all, in his eyes, the purpose of Jinchuriki is to serve as a nuclear deterrent, and personal strength is not too important. But now the Nine-Tails in Naruto's body is tightly sealed by himself. Not to mention the door, even the windows are blocked. Then, was Orochimaru regarded as an ordinary genius? Tianyu was a little ashamed. Doesn't this guy want Naruto's body? Not to mention Naruto's talent, this is really possible. If Tianyu hadn't sealed Nine-Tails. So Orochimaru's magic, chakra and mental power were kicked away by Nine-Tails in a matter of minutes. The problem is that Nine-Tails is blocked. Tianyu looked at Naruto, who was getting darker and had a MMP expression on his face. Damn, I won't take the blame for this. And not long ago, not far away in the grass, the 3 sound ninjas were observing carefully at this time. The impatient Sack looked at the sun and whispered to Toss beside him. The time has come, is it time to go? Toss frowned, grabbed a squirrel, attached it to the detonating talisman and threw it out. The detonating talisman ran towards the tree hole under the control of Toss. Before he can activate the detonating talisman, Tianyu suddenly jumped out of the tree hole cursing. Toss's expression changed, and he looked solemnly in the direction of the tree hole. An extremely uncomfortable chakra erupted from the tree hole, and the squirrel that was originally thrown seemed to be greatly frightened and ran away. Sack. Damn it, we'd better do it ourselves. Toss's expression changed on the side. Sack, wait a minute. However, Sack didn't listen to the advice at all and jumped out impatiently. Boy, let Uchiha Sasuke come out, I want his life. Tianyu turned around and looked at the three sound ninjas with a strange expression. Really, three idiots? Is this completely abandoned? Do you want to use this to activate the darkness in Naruto and Sasuke's hearts? Tianyu shook his head. These three unlucky children were hopeless. Sak looked at Tianyu as if he were looking at a dead person and felt extremely uncomfortable. He shouted angrily. Get out if you don't want to die. Our targets are Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke. Seeing that they were exposed, Toss and Jin showed up to stand with Sark. Toss pulled Sak and whispered. Wait, something's wrong. Unlike Sak and Jin, he had some talent for perceiving ninjas, and he sensed the chakra that was not quite right in the tree hole. Tianyu's power of 4 souls at this time raised an early warning. He felt the flow of air with paper arts and frowned. It's quite lively here. Then Tianyu bit his finger and pressed it to the ground. With a bang, Zui was summoned. Is there another fight? Zuya glanced at the tree hole, his eyes a little bright. Tianyu helplessly pushed her head straight and was speechless. That's one of our own. Zuya looked disgusted. Why are there so many monsters and monsters around you? In Zuya's understanding, the state of Naruto and Sasuke is a manifestation of being possessed by monsters. Tianyu scratched his head. There is no way to explain this. It can only be a matter of concept. In InuYasha's world, it is called monsters, but here it is called celestial beings. It seems that the cultivation methods of toads, snakes and katsuyu should really be called witchcraft. If you fail to practice, you will turn into a toad, which is more like a witchcraft. But Tianyu summoned Zuya not for fighting. He pulled Zuya and took 2 steps back. Watch the show first, then take action when necessary. At this time, Tianyu could already feel the air waves coming from the tree hole. Naruto and Sasuke slowly walked out of it covered with curse marks. Tianyu stared at Naruto with a strange look on his face, and he was going to step back to see the situation. However, as the two of them got closer, the 4th light point gradually appeared in my mind that had been silent for a long time. Tianyu's expression changed, and he looked at Mingzuo and Mingzuo with some surprise. What the hell? New light. What power does this represent? Curse seal. Or magic. Chapter 41 I feel so strong now. First update. Advertise here. From the moment the first point of light appears. Every time Tianyu signs a contract, new points of light will appear. When you sign the ninja dog, the first 2 light spots appear. When you sign the ninja bird, the 3rd light spot appears. According to Tianyu's original idea, the 4th light spot should be activated after he signed a new summoning contract. As a result, my 3rd summoning beast has not yet been contracted, and the 4th light spot has already appeared. In this case, the light spot in my mind may not be linked to the summoning contract. On the contrary, it was the appearance of the light spot that caused the summoning technique to mutate. The first point of light represents ninjutsu, the second point represents spiritual energy, and the third point represents physical energy. Tianyu himself has mastered these powers. Tianyu's eyes flashed with wisdom. The 4th one didn't appear. Is it because I don't have the power to turn on the 4th light point? So it's because some force activated the cheat in his body. Curse seal. Magic. Or is it because of Orochimaru's soul? Tianyu looked at Naruto and Sasuke with twinkling eyes. He turned his head. Sin. My mood swings seem to be a bit big during this period. I don't know if it's because of practicing the 4 souls Jade. Tianyu. Tell me what's going on now. Sasuke looked at the chakra pouring out of his body with a wild expression on his face. At this time, he looked very much like those villains in martial arts novels who suddenly gained great power and felt invincible. Tianyu didn't care either. He pointed at the 3 sound ninjas and laughed. These 3 are going to kill you. Sasuke suddenly looked at the 3 sound ninjas. The hearts of the 3 of them trembled unconsciously. The irritable Sak suddenly became furious because of his cowardice. He suddenly stretched out his palm and revealed his modified hair dryer to Sasuke. Go to hell. Zon Kongbo. 100% air pressure and 0% ultrasonic waves are emitted from the wind hole on the hand. Tianyu curled his lips and said, this power is not as powerful as Orochimaru's breath. If Orochimaru hadn't wanted to see the power of Uchiha Sasuke's heavenly curse seal, these 3 noobs wouldn't even be able to defeat the second pillar in the original work. Not to mention that the current second pillar still passed through Kakashi and opened the small stove in advance. Sak gasped and looked at the gully he had blown out with excitement on his face. What is Uchiha's first genius? In front of me, Sak. Sark. Watch your back. At this time, Toss was shocked. Sak looked back sharply. Nani. Sasuke appeared behind him instantly. Tianyu touched his chin. Is it already as fast as shaving, or at the speed of body flicker technique? Sasuke grabbed Sak's hands and sneered. You seem very proud of your hands. Sak looked horrified at this time. No, don't. Ah. Looking at the dislocated Sasuke, Sasuke showed an evil smile. Only Tianyu rolled his eyes and curled his lips. Childishness is, after all, just a flower in a greenhouse. He ked her to death immediately, and after a while of hard work, her arm was dislocated in the end. During the Sengoku period, this would probably have been beaten to death by Uchiha Shimada. Tianyu pouted. Until Sasuke learned the truth about Uchiha Itachi, he had the naive and childish idea of only taking revenge without hurting the innocent. Compared with previous reincarnations of Indra, Sasuke is so kind. Sure enough, is it because Indra chakra was consumed too much by Uchiha Madara that it can't affect host's character? On the contrary, Tianyu turned to look at Naruto. At this time, he was looking at the patterns on his body with curiosity. Hey, Tianyu, look, I feel so strong now. Tianyu's eyelids twitched. Nonsense, how can it not be strong? In theory, the curse seal is something Orochimaru coveted and researched in celestial arts. The theoretical panel attributes of Naruto with the cursed seal turned on are already linked to the fairy call. Tianyu also speculated a little about the principle of this thing. Immortal magic requires strong spiritual energy to control physical energy and natural energy. Orochimaru's mental energy is weak due to his research on living corpse reincarnation, and he is unable to control the precise ratio of the two powers at the same time. So after he discovered that Jugo was upgraded due to the influence of Raichi Cave, he came up with the idea of developing a curse seal. This curse seal relies on living corpse reincarnation, allowing Orochimaru to inject his soul into the host's body through living corpse reincarnation division to form a curse seal. When the host uses the power of the curse seal, Orochimaru's spiritual power will appear to assist the host in absorbing and controlling the natural energy and chakra for a 1-1-1 fusion. This method has the same effect as Jiraiya's fusion of Fukasaku Sennin and Shima Sennin to assist him in integrating Senjutsu chakra. It's just that Orochimaru plays the job of those two toads. Tianyu guessed that this curse seal was most likely a forbidden technique developed by Orochimaru based on the inspiration of Jiraiya's sage mode. As for the so-called curse seal of heaven and curse seal of earth, it's nothing more than the strength to carry Orochimaru's soul. When Orochimaru's soul has devoured enough chakra in the host's body, you can turn the guest into the host, use chakra to resurrect or directly embezzle the host's consciousness to complete the body seizing. Orochimaru who appeared during the Battle of Sadachi and Orochimaru who resurrected from Anko's neck can both prove this. Before this, except for the erosion of the body caused by the forced fusion of the incomplete Raichi Cave Sage mode, there was probably no big risk. Naruto was still unaware of this at this time. He only felt that his strength had increased several times. And Tianyu was also keenly aware that the Naruto in front of him had most likely reached cage-level panel attributes. And on the other side, just when Toss and others were about to kneel down and beg for mercy, an excited voice came again from the woods not far away. Sass, help. Chapter 42 Sasuke fails to show off, Gaara goes berserk. Open black lens bracket second update close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Inuzuka Kiba and his group rushed out in embarrassment. And behind them is the yellow sand chasing after them. He. Go to hell. Gaara's crazy voice came from behind. A ball of floating sand carried Gaara and flew slowly over. Behind Gaara, Temari and Kankuro followed closely behind with anxious expressions. Gaara, we already have the scroll. Let's head to the tower. Gaara seemed to have lost control and shouted angrily, shut up. If you yell again, I will kill you too. Gaara suddenly squatted down holding his head in pain. It was as if something was in his mind. He suddenly looked up at Tianyu. Tianyu scratched his head innocently. Then he sighed again, turned to Sasuke and shouted. Sasuke, come on, go save them. Sasuke smiled crookedly. HMPH, you still have to rely on me. He came to Gaara's side in an instant, and then kicked him away with a fierce kick. Inuzuka Kiba and others looked shocked. So fast. Kankuro and Temari, who were following Gaara, widened their eyes and said in disbelief. How is that possible? Gaara's sand shield doesn't respond. At this time, Gaara's sand followed closely and chased Gaara. Only then did the two realize that it was not that the sand did not react, but that it was too fast and did not react. Inuzuka Kiba looked at the shocked Sasuke who landed on the ground. So strong. The corner of Sasuke's mouth raised, enjoying the long-lost attention gift, and he suddenly felt like screaming to the sky. As a result, the next second, a huge Shukaku arm with a curse mark flew from a distance and grabbed Sasuke. Zuya beside Tianyu suddenly blinked and said, the monster in the guy opposite seems to be angry. Temari and Kankuro trembled. Not good. Gaara is out of control. Sasuke's expression changed, and before he could dodge, he was sent flying by Shukaku's claws that suddenly stretched out. Sass here. Naruto was shocked when he saw this. He hurriedly dodged behind Sasuke and caught him. The two fell to the ground and broke several large trees. Tianyu's brows instantly wrinkled. Only then did he notice that Sasuke's state was not right. This was not the strength he should have after opening the curse seal. Tianyu suddenly thought that the other party had a hearty battle with Ant Snake yesterday, and then was forcibly implanted with the heavenly curse seal. Tianyu glanced at Naruto and Sasuke again, who were holding their necks. That look was very similar to the look of a certain ninja world when they were short of blue. Tianyu scratched his head. Damn it, this idiot Sasuke has no blues. To be precise, neither spiritual energy nor physical energy has been restored. Natural energy alone is useless. Forcibly opening the curse seal now is completely consuming life force. Toss and Jin from Sound Ninja Village saw this and their eyes lit up. The two people who were just about to beg for mercy excitedly rushed towards Naruto and Sasuke, who fell to the ground. Go. Kill Sasuke while you have the chance. Kiba Inuzuka, who was still sighing about Sasuke's awesomeness just now, looked stunned. Tianyu sighed helplessly. What are you looking at? Get ready to run. Moroha. Moroha, who had been waiting for a long time, instantly shot several demon-breaking arrows. The demon-breaking arrow turned into a purple stream of light and directly pinned Toss and Jin to the ground. Even though the strength of the two of them far exceeds that of ordinary genin or even chunin, they are still not enough in front of Moroha. So strong. Inuzuka Kiba looked at Moroha with wide eyes. Even he couldn't dodge the arrow just now. This is no longer an ordinary weapon attack, it is obviously enchanted. Tianyu glared at him angrily. You are so strong. Let's go. After saying that, he grabbed the panicked Hinata and ran towards the central tower. It's not like he's facing Jinchuriki now. The reason why he was able to seal Nine Tails. It's because Nine Tails already has a powerful 8-sign seal. And he only needs to use his spiritual power to block the gaps in the seal. But Gaara's seal was as rotten as a sieve, so it was naturally impossible for him to completely seal Shukaku with his Jonin spiritual power. In addition, Gaara's defensive moves are extremely restrained in physical skills. My 6 postures are not even as good as Xiaoli, who is currently playing 8-gate. Tianyu fought with Gaara only when his brain was in trouble. He even suspected that Gaara should have an elemental ability similar to the secret technique of water transformation, and at the worst, he had extremely strong resistance to physical techniques. Otherwise, even the sand armor would not be able to remain unscathed under such a terrifying physical attack by Xiaoli. The effect caused by the power of that skill definitely exceeds that of Sasuke's Chidori at this stage. But after Gaara's battle with Xiaoli, she only consumed some chakra, which is obviously unreasonable. Therefore Tianyu speculated, if you want to really attack Gaara, you must use ninjutsu to attack. Because chakra should have an effect similar to armament haki. That's why Kakashi, who saw through this, urgently called Sasuke away to open the stove before fighting Gaara. The purpose is to let it learn Chidori to deal with Gaara's absolute defense. Otherwise, as a student of 4th generation, Kakashi would not be able to leave Naruto to Ebisu just to open a small stove for Sasuke, no matter how partial Uchiha is. There is only one reason for him to do this, and that is that without Chidori, Sasuke has no hope of winning. Chapter 43 Tailed Beast Rebellion. The storm is rising. Open black lens bracket. Third update. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. The same is true for Tianyu at this time. His current strength lies in physical skills and pure soul power. And the chakra of his ninjutsu is only at the chunin level, and even the first light point has not turned into a whirlpool. Unless he summons the cadres of the Don Quixote family who are skilled in using haki at this time, it is possible to cause harm to Gaara. But it's only damage. Unless it's the strongest Doflamingo, he doesn't have the power to deal with a tailed beast right now. After all, Shukaku is not the weakest among the 9-tailed beasts. Since I can't kill him, then Tianyu would not do such a thankless thing. Looking at Tianyu running away in a hurry, everyone present was bewildered. You were running too decisively, weren't you? Inuzuka Kiba and Aburame Shino suddenly reacted and quickly chased Tianyu. Asshole. Put Hinata down. This guy is even carrying his teammates. At this time, Naruto stood up and shouted angrily. Why run? Leave it to me. There is no such thing in Naruto's dictionary as giving up without a fight. Sasuke, this Indra noob is no longer good. But he is the reincarnation of Ashura, so his life force is nothing. He has enough chakra to activate the curse seal. Naruto shouted angrily and took out a huge Rasengan in his hand. With the blessing of the curse seal, Naruto's Rasengan was indeed nearly 10 times larger than the original Big Ball Rasengan, similar to the Sage Art Big Ball Rasengan during the Nine Tails tug of war. Moreover, the black Senjutsu chakra makes Rasengan, a ninjutsu created in imitation of Tailed Beast Bomb, look a bit like Tailed Beast Bomb. However, what Naruto was facing at this time was not the 9 tails in the seal. The half-tailed beast Gaara suddenly put her hands on the ground and shouted angrily. Quicksand waterfall. Waves of sand that covered the sky and sun rose from the surface and rushed toward everyone present. Naruto looked at the big ball in his hand and then at the tsunami-like sea of sand. He decisively put the ball away and then picked up Sasuke and rushed towards Tianyu. Tianyu, wait for me. Facts have proved that before the strength reaches a certain level, scale and volume often have very obvious advantages. This is also the reason why tailed beasts can exist as nuclear weapons in the ninja world. During the Third World War, Jiraiya, Minato and their teammates faced Iwagakure's 2-tailed beast bombs and could only use Flying Thunder God to escape. If it were Senai who had been training for many years in Shippuden, he might be able to barely fight the tailed beasts, but it is obvious that Naruto at this time is still far away. Even because no one has taught Naruto how to use the summoning technique and the power of the 9 tails chakra. Even if Tianyu breaks Naruto's seal, he probably won't be able to defeat Gaara like in the original novel. Tianyu, who was running ahead, sighed with a sigh in his heart. Hinata is so developed. Doesn't this world have such things as correction power? The plot is almost ruined by myself. But if the tailed beast rebellion breaks out in the Death Forest, maybe Konoha can really focus its fire and kill Gaara, and then I might be able to directly intercept one-tail Shukaku's chakra, which would really make a lot of money. Quote. Tianyu was thinking about the feasibility of this matter as he moved forward. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had just arrived at the central tower, stood up suddenly and looked at the examination room in shock. Anko, who had just reported the details of his meeting with Orochimaru, asked in surprise. What's wrong, Hokage-sama? Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at the outside of the tower with an ugly expression and hurried out. Anbu, tell someone to follow me. His heart Chunin couldn't help roaring crazily. Damn, Jinchuriki. Sand Shinobi Village actually sent Jinchuriki here. Are they crazy? Those idiots in Anbu didn't find out. In the Tower of Death, Baki stood up with a shocked look on his face, and then shouted angrily, his face turning blue with anger, damn Gaara. Orochimaru, who was stationed in the Sound Ninja Village, also frowned. Trash, you can't handle this, but it doesn't matter. Isn't it the same here? His eyes flashed sharply. Following Sarutobi Hiruzen walked towards the outside of the tower. However, as soon as they arrived at the tower gate, several Anbu instantly appeared in front of Orochimaru. In case of emergency, people from other villages are not allowed to go out. Orochimaru smiled evilly. Several giant pythons suddenly jumped out of the cuffs and instantly threw the two Anbu to the ground. Latent Shadow Snake Hand. Anbu, who was spying secretly, changed his expression greatly. No, this guy is Orochimaru. Hurry up and send the signal. However, a gentle voice came from behind him. If this signal got out, I would be very distressed. The next second, Anbu instantly lost consciousness. Yakushi Kabuto, who was wearing a forehead protector, put down himself and turned on the chakra scalpel. He looked at Orochimaru with his palm and said slowly. Lord Orochimaru, Naruto and Sasuke have both activated the Heaven's Curse seal, but something happened and one-tail's Jinchuriki went berserk. Orochimaru looked at Kabuto deeply and smiled. That's okay. Let's call people over first and act according to the situation. Kabuto. Yes, inside Konoha village at this time. The expressions of the heads of the major ninja clans changed at the same time. They all looked at the Forest of Death, their expressions becoming extremely solemn. And at the mansion of the Shimura clan chief. Danzo opened his eyes suddenly and looked towards the direction of the Death Forest with an ugly expression on his face. Damn. His grip on the crutches tightened suddenly, and then he relaxed again as he quietly glanced at the roof with his exposed eye. It's not the time yet, we have to wait. Chapter 44 Laozi is the reincarnation of Sage of Six Paths, 4th update. Advertise here. In the Forest of Death. Hinata was so angry that she almost fainted in Tianyu's arms. After a long time to regain her composure, she whispered to Tianyu. Well, Mr. Tianyu, I can come down and run by myself. Tianyu smiled casually and said perfunctorily. It's okay, I run fast. Hinata groaned and lay shyly in Tianyu's arms. But Tianyu really didn't have any charming thoughts at this time. All he could think about now was how to kill Gaara and absorb One-Tail's power. Tianyu glanced at Gaara who was chasing behind him with a depressed look on his face. The strength is still a bit low. This guy actually bypassed Naruto and Sasuke and came directly to me. Damn it, I'm very good at it. He asked Zuya next to him. Can your demon-breaking arrow seal it? Zuya looked back at him and looked at him as an idiot. Tianyu rolled his eyes and threw Hinata to Zuya with a curse. What's the use of you? Take her away from me. After Tianyu finished, he immediately changed direction and split up with Moroha and Hinata to retreat strategically. Gaara, who was behind, flew towards Tianyu without hesitation. At this time, his entire body had transformed into a miniature version of Shukaku. This time he is different from the anime. At this time, Gaara has completely fallen into a state of rage due to Shukaku's rage, or it can be said that Shukaku is controlling the body. Unlike when Gaara went black and went berserk, Gaara at this time was completely controlled by Shukaku. Unlike Nine Tails and other tailed beasts that were captured and sold by Hashirama. Shukaku was sealed by Fenfu while wandering in the Land of Wind. And Fenfu never regarded Shukaku as a monster. So it doesn't hate humans as much as other tailed beasts. This is also the reason why Shukaku was not completely unblocked by Gaara's use of the fake sleep technique. Because it has no intention of eroding Gaara's consciousness and body and causing her death. Therefore, in the original anime, Gaara had always controlled her body by herself before releasing the fake sleep technique. But this time it's different. At this time, Gaara has obviously completely lost his mind, and his consciousness has been occupied by Shukaku. In a poor village like Sunagakur, there is no powerful seal to control Shukaku. The only thing that could seal Shukaku before was the Six Paths ninja tool. Now that Shukaku is in Gaara's body, the ninja tool will naturally have no effect. It's okay if Shukaku doesn't have any thoughts about going berserk. Once he wants to go berserk, Gaara can't resist at all. So when Shukaku followed his instinct and wanted to devour Tianyu, Gaara's so-called consciousness was swallowed up by it in an instant. Kid, stop. Shukaku's sharp voice shouted from the mouth of the mini Shukaku, let me eat you. Tianyu's face darkened. MD, as long as you are not made of sand, whatever I say today will go into your belly and imitate the gold and silver brothers in Na Yu. Tianyu's eyes lit up, and then he sighed again. There is a difference between this guy and Nine Tails. The body of this thing is just a tiny bit, and the rest is all sand, and you can't even bite it. His balls ache when he thinks of Shukaku in the sealed cauldron in Boruto Den. The others are so big, it's like you are so small. But Shukaku, like Nine Tails, is a full-body chakra body. He insisted on tearing off a few pieces of its flesh to see if it could be absorbed. Tianyu turned to Shukaku and shouted, "FKU, I'm the reincarnation of Sage of Six Paths. I rescued you from 10 Tails, and you're repaying a favor with a grudge." Shukaku was stunned and looked at Tianyu, who was running away in surprise. Damn it, how does this guy know the origin of their tailed beasts? He looked at Tianyu in astonishment. Is this guy really the reincarnation of Sage of Six Paths? Just when Shukaku was hesitating, the aura of the Shakan Jade reached Shukaku again. Its eyes turned red and were once again covered with greed. It doesn't King matter if you're Sage of Six Paths. The Jade of Four Souls has two forms, namely good and evil. When it falls into the hands of evil-minded people, it will be contaminated and become a warped spirit. And if it falls into the hands of someone with a pure heart, it can be purified and become a straight spirit. But it is obvious that Shukaku has nothing to do with Now Ling. To put it bluntly, it is also split from 10 Tails, and 10 Tails are monsters that feed on the planet. Even though Otsutsuki Hagoromo split it into 9 parts, it still has the evil intentions of a monster in its essence. Now under the aura of the Four Souls Jade, Shukaku's evil thoughts were amplified by Ku Ling. Looking at Tianyu, whose speed had not slowed down at all, Shukaku's cross eyes were full of malice. You can't run away. Its claws came together, and a terrifying hurricane formed from behind it, wind-style infinite dust great breakthrough. In an instant, the death forest for several kilometers was enveloped by a huge desert storm. The gravel mixed in the storm blew towards Tianyu like tiny blades. Tianyu frowned, instantly using spiritual power to open the barrier. The moment the sand blades in the sky approached within a 2-meter radius of Tianyu, their spiritual energy was removed by the barrier technique of InuYasha's world. The gravel like a blade instantly turned into an ordinary sandstorm, and the body strengthened by the return of life easily blocked the scattered sand. Shukaku's tanuki face instantly became more ferocious. It took action again, turning the sand in its right hand into a huge sand arm and grabbing it towards Tianyu. This is the sand that has been refined in the Gara gourd. It is not only fast, but also will not be destroyed so easily. Tianyu's eyes twitched twice. Is he risking his life? He frowned as he looked at the yellow sand in the sky. Why the hell hasn't anyone come to Konoha yet? The tailed beasts have all come to the house, and no one is taking care of them. Are you really just waiting for Sarutobi Hiruzen to die? Tianyu's face was gloomy, he bit his thumb and prepared to break out. If Konoha really didn't care, he would lure this thing to the center of the village. I don't believe that when the tailed beast actually enters the village, you will still have the heart to watch the show. Seeing the monster arm of sand getting closer and closer. Tianyu's handprints have also been completed. Just when he was about to summon the hand of sand. There was a loud roar followed by a thick stick suddenly coming from a distance. Ape Demon. Chapter 45 Political Wizard Sarutobi Hiruzen, 5th update. Advertise here. A thick stick penetrated the sand. With a bang, Shukaku's hand of sand was instantly scattered. Tianyu landed on the tree and looked up at the front. As the sandstorm fell, Sarutobi Hiruzen, wearing a battle uniform and holding a thick pillar, teleported in front of him, followed by several Anbu. Sarutobi Hiruzen asked with concern. Tianyu, are you okay? Where are the others? Tianyu breathed a sigh of relief, patted his chest to take credit and said. Sasuke and Naruto were attacked. This guy is Sunagaku's Gaara. I don't know what secret technique he used to become like this. For the safety of both of them, I took the initiative to lure him here. Sarutobi Hiruzen was moved when he heard this. What a good child this is, how strong the will of fire is, for the lives of his companions, he even sacrifices himself to lure away the enemy. Sarutobi Hiruzen felt relieved that all his years of training were not in vain. Tianyu felt very sad. Alas, the one who came to the rescue in the end turned out to be 3rd generation. I was just thinking about how to kill him and absorb his chakra. Sin. It's better to kill Gaara. If Shukaku has the power, there will be a basis for cooperation with Sarutobi Hiruzen. My business has no conflict with him in the first place, I am just worried about his coveting. If I have the strength, I don't worry about him daring to fall out. I have been quite happy to cooperate with them over the years. Anyway, I don't like Konoha, a 3-acre area. I can't fight against a place the size of Eastern Europe. It's too narrow-minded. Act according to the situation. Shukaku is the first goal. If you can't do anything, then consider helping the 3rd generation to die. Alas, I am still too kind. Quote. Sarutobi Hiruzen felt a thrill in his heart, as if he was being targeted by something malicious. He glanced at Tianyu behind him suspiciously, and what met him was Tianyu's admiring gaze. Well, I should be overthinking myself. He looked at Shukaku. Shukaku stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen ferociously and shouted. Get away, old man, I'm going to kill him. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought it was because Tianyu provoked Shukaku that he was so angry. He shouted angrily at Shukaku. I am Konoha Village Hokage. How can I let you hurt the fire in the village? Tianyu, you go first. Tianyu looked at the awe-inspiring Sarutobi Hiruzen and admired in his heart. Evaluate without considering your position. Sarutobi Hiruzen is indeed a hero. Everyone dislikes Sarutobi Hiruzen just because he stands in Konoha and analyzes the third generation from Naruto's perspective. If you look at Sarutobi Hiruzen purely from the perspective of a bystander or the Sarutobi clan, this guy is simply a political wizard. First of all, he took advantage of the opportunity to directly win the designation of Konoha's third Hokage. Secondly, vigorously weaken the Senju clan and resolutely implement the second-generation policy of hiding the Uchiha clan. He secretly studied wood style in an attempt to control the tailed beasts, and obtained the title of experimental subject Yamato. He directly lured him under his command as bait, and even beat up Danzo. Use the other 4 major ninja villages as knives to destroy the Uzumaki clan and intercept their direct bloodline and full set of sealing techniques. At the cost of abdicating the throne and sacrificing the gains from victory, the power of the various ninja clans in Konoha was greatly weakened. Actively relocate Konoha civilians and dilute the electoral rights of various ninja clans in Konoha village. Descend 1 generation and live under a famous name to gain the orthodox support of the Fire Nation. Support the Konoha elders, establish the roots, and be responsible for taking the blame and doing the dirty work. After all the internal conflicts, Uchiha clan, are resolved, they will take back the basic power and dismiss Danzo, the scapegoat. If we look at Konoha's overall strength, Sarutobi Hiruzen went from 1 versus 4 when he took over, to a point where even 1 versus 1 would be troublesome, leaving Konoha half disabled. But from the perspective of the Sarutobi clan, it took him decades to transform from the ninja world where blood and talent are respected. He forcibly developed the Sarutobi clan into the largest ninjutsu family in Konoha. During the 4 Ninja War, when dealing with 10 Tails, the Sarutobi clan was one of the few civilian ninjas to show up collectively. That's right, they are the civilian ninja clan. The Sarutobi clan is the only one among the blood succession limited and secretive ninja clans such as InuYasha, Hyuga, Inuzuka, and Aburame to show up by relying on conventional ninjutsu. If we follow Sarutobi Hiruzen's idea, as long as 9 Tails is in their own hands, and they use the votes and the support of the daimyo, the Sarutobi clan can keep the position of Hokage in the Sarutobi clan forever. Asuma, Konohamaru, passed down from generation to generation. One day, the Sarutobi clan became recognized as the Hokage of Konoha. As for the strength of Konoha village, just rely on the Fire Country, which has the most abundant resources behind Konoha, and the various ninjutsu and secret techniques left behind in the Seal Scrolls. As long as Konoha is given a little more than 10 years, Konoha will be able to stand on the top of the ninja world again. Sarutobi Hiruzen's greatest confidence is his heritage, and what he sacrificed was just temporary benefits. That's why in the plot, Sarutobi Hiruzen expressed that he could continue working for a while during the verbal confrontation with Orochimaru during the Chunin exam. Because Asuma has just returned to the village after gaining reputation, Sarutobi Hiruzen needs to wait for him to familiarize himself with the affairs of the village for a few more years before handing over the Hokage. It's a pity that in the ninja world, the strength will always be ranked first. Old and lustful, the old and frail Sarutobi Hiruzen was eventually defeated by his favorite disciple. As the most outstanding disciple of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Although it is somewhat crazy because of the fear of death and the pursuit of truth. But in his heart, he was most thoroughly influenced by Sarutobi Hiruzen's will of fire. He can choose to attack Jiraiya for the mission without hesitation, and he can also carry out various human experiments for the village. Although he talks about destroying Konoha, but everything he did was done with the best interests of Konoha as his priority. It's a pity that Sarutobi Hiruzen cannot represent Konoha. When Orochimaru discovered that various shinobi villages were engaged in a crazy arms race, Sarutobi Hiruzen was still engaged in internal strife to gain power in Konoha. This made Orochimaru decide to rectify Konoha and let his teacher die with honor, so that his reputation would not be preserved even when he was old. Many people in Konoha knew this and saw Orochimaru's motives. So in the Konoha collapse plan, everyone is paddling along. Kakashi and Guy were paddling, and Jiraiya was paddling. Even Ebisu knew about Jiraiya's whereabouts but did not report it. Morinohiki even said that Konoha owed Orochimaru a Hokage. This is also the reason why Naruto saved Orochimaru at the end of Shippuden. That's right, it's protection. Chapter 46. Hokage takes action, one can stand up to 2, first update. Advertise here. Orochimaru's forbidden technique is a bug that can overturn the ninja world. Even without Uchiha Madara, the 4 shadows coming out of the dirty soil are easy enough to destroy any ninja village. This kind of power is already a more terrifying military force than the tailed beasts, and no one wants Orochimaru to live. If it weren't for Naruto's protection, the Ninja Alliance would definitely have jointly destroyed Orochimaru and Yakushi Kabuto as soon as possible. This is what Wu told him immediately after meeting Onoki, to grab the benefits immediately after the battle. It's a pity that Naruto and Sasuke were so powerful that Raikage, Mizukage and Tsuchikage had to give up this idea. After Konoha became the true leader of the ninja world, Orochimaru also completely let himself go and lived like Jiraiya. Tianyu shook his head and looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen who rushed towards Shukaku and sighed. There is no justice, it is just a political game. Even Naruto had double standards in the later Iron Kingdom meeting, hoping that Raikage would forgive Sasuke and everyone could resolve their hatred for each other. At that time, Raikage had just killed his younger brother by Sasuke. As a result, when Raikage said that he would kill Sasuke first and then Naruto would forgive him, Naruto remained silent. Therefore, it is human nature to have double standards. Tianyu did not feel that Sarutobi Hiruzen did anything wrong. If Tianyu was put in Sarutobi Hiruzen's position, he felt that he would be more ruthless than Sarutobi Hiruzen. Before Tianyu became a ninja, he had always been a wealthy businessman and aristocratic capitalist who broke out of the ninja system. So it makes no difference to him whoever is in power. Even from the perspective of family interests, the Hokage he should support the most should be Danzo. Because only the hawkish Danzo will launch more wars to make Tianyu's business boom. Tianyu's eyes flickered, and he quickly thought about the next development and his own pros and cons. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen showed his great strength as Hokage. The review ninjutsu of the 5-attribute ninjutsu actually suppressed Shukaku's possession body easily. Several Anbu looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with admiration and compliments. As expected of Master Hokage, the burst of chakra makes it impossible for even the sand to get close. Look at the combination of fire, earth, and dragon bullets. Master Hokage has applied ninjutsu to ultimate. Just the aftermath makes it impossible for us to intervene. If the third generation leaders had been around during the Nine Tails Rebellion, the fourth generation might not have died. Look, that monster is dying. We can only defend passively. Sure enough, Master Hokage is here to take action. One can defeat many of them. Tianyu tilted his head and looked at Anbu. Is this the direct descendant of Sarutobi Hiruzen who has developed over the years? Kui cult, right. In the eyes of these guys, Sarutobi Hiruzen has been deified. Tianyu sensed it with his spiritual power. There wasn't much pressure coming from me. It means that at this time, I should be able to kill these guys easily. His body and soul increased a lot with the killing. Now the maximum amount of chakra he can use has reached Jonin's level. Although in this Chunin exam, other than the protagonist group, Genin has no role. But who can take the Chunin exam who is not the elite Genin from each ninja village? Even most of them have the strength of Chunin, but they have not been upgraded for the exam. Weakness is only relative. In terms of pure chakra amount, they are not much worse than these Anbu. There are 13 teams in total, except for 12 Shaoqiang, Gaara, and Sound Ninja Village. Only Yakushi Kabuto, Xianglin and Orochimaru were left. Tianyu gave up, and the rest were all transformed into Tianyu's purified energy. At this time, his second soul vortex and third body vortex have reached about 10 calories of chakra open Sharingan to release 10 water dragon bomb plus waterfall. After the fusion of the two, his chakra amount can be considered to have truly reached the Jonin level. Coupled with the barrier technique's restraint on ninjutsu and the bonus of the pirate world's physical skills, he can be regarded as an elite Jonin at this time. And elite Jonin is a candidate for the cage of each ninja village. Although people in Shiyu's previous life liked to divide it into two realms. In fact, this is just a division of status. Elite Jonin refers to those Jonin whose strength has been recognized and who have made a name for themselves in the ninja world. And these people are generally those who can serve as Hokage candidates in the next election. But there is no doubt that one thing is recognized. Elite Jonin can already threaten the lives of cage-level experts in 1v1, but the winning rate is lower. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen turned to Anbu and asked, "Aren't the ceiling class here yet?" Anbu hurriedly replied. "The Ninja Eagle has been released and should be on its way." Sarutobi Hiruzen had some sweat on his face. As he grows older, his physical strength continues to weaken. Chakra is extracted with physical strength. If the physical strength is weak, the amount of chakra will naturally be reduced. The worst is the poor battery life. Nowadays, he seems to have unlimited glory, but in fact, compound ninjutsu is just a simple combination of ninjutsu with several attributes to form a boost. This kind of ninjutsu may be able to restrain conventional ninjutsu, thereby achieving the effect of exchanging a small amount of chakra for the opponent's more chakra. But facing the tailed beasts, facing the magnet style that is the limit of blood inheritance, the advantage of his own compound ninjutsu becomes completely gone. This is why he desperately wants to kill the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan. Because he is too strong, so strong that it makes people jealous. No matter how talented you are, no matter how many ninjutsu you learn, you can't compare to the power of someone else's blood inheritance. In order for the Sarutobi clan to have long-term peace and stability, this kind of family that is superior to ninjutsu should not exist. Maybe one day the opponent will show up again with Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, and all the plans will be in vain. At this time, although Sarutobi Hiruzen has been suppressing Shukaku, he actually cannot cause any harm to Shukaku. Once his chakra is exhausted, he will be killed by Shukaku in an instant. In a woods, Orochimaru stood on the treetop watching his teacher lost in memories. After a long time, Orochimaru said calmly to Yakushi Kabuto, "Go and stop the sealing team." Yes. Chapter 47. Lord Hokage, hold on. Let me help you kill it. Open black lens bracket second update close black lens bracket. Advertise here. How strong is one tail? As the earliest Hokage ninja to appear and with the smallest tail, Shukaku has always been discriminated against by many Hokage fans. It wasn't until the later sentence, because Nine Tails has always distinguished the strength of tailed beasts based on the number of tails, that's why Shukaku was hostile to Nine Tails, that everyone learned that One Tail's strength was not only not weak, but was the best among the nine-tailed beasts. Strong. Excluding 8 tails and 9 tails, One Tail's strength belongs to the second level of tailed beasts. Therefore, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt very uncomfortable at this time. His 5-release compound ninjutsu cannot break One Tail's absolute defense. Even if part of the sand is knocked away, One Tail can be restored to its original state in an instant. All it takes is a little chakra. As for One Tail's chakra, even if the Akatsuki organization uses it, it will take several days and nights. Even though it is not as good as the tens of thousands of calories in the later stages of Naruto plus half of Nine Tails, it still has 7 or 8,000 calories. So at this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen has gradually declined. Once you start competing with tailed beasts for chakra, you are not far from losing. Not everyone has a sage body. Tianyu also understands this very well. At this time, his eyes flickered, and his heart entered into a battle between heaven and man. He admitted that he was greedy. The difficulty of killing a tailed beast with Jinchuriki is not at the same level as that of a wild-tailed beast. Although the Akatsuki organization's collection of tailed beasts is like chopping melons and vegetables. That's all because those tailed beasts are sealed in Jinchuriki's body. As long as Jinchuriki is harmed, the strength of the tailed beasts will gradually be weakened. Naturally, wild-tailed beasts do not have such shackles. Deidara used an arm as a cost to defeat Gaara, who did not use Shukaku's power. When facing 3 Tails Isofu, he had to take down Isofu with the help of Obito. At that time, Obito had the dual ability to restrain tailed beasts, Mangekyo Sharingan and Wood Style. Judging from Deidara's solemn eyes, it was most likely that the possessed Uzumaki Zetsu used Wood Style to suck out Isatsu and take control of 3 Tails. Therefore, Shukaku at this time is definitely a good opportunity for Tianyu, a chance to kill Gaara. Gaara, who has not yet grown up, greatly limits Shukaku's strength. Sarutobi Hiruzen, combined with his summoning technique, is very likely to kill Gaara directly. If Shukaku is absorbed at once, then his strength will grow explosively. This is a huge profit that cannot be matched by killing 100 Sarutobi Hiruzen. Tianyu is a businessman and a capitalist. Das Kapital once said that once there is appropriate profit, capital becomes bolder. If there is a 10% profit, it is guaranteed to be used everywhere. With 20% profit, it becomes active. With 50% profit, it takes desperate risks. For 100% profit, it dares to trample all human laws. With a profit of 300%, it dares to commit any crime and even risk being hanged. Shukaku's profit is more than 300%. In the past, Tianyu ate and waited to die because the risks he had to pay were not proportional to the benefits. But this time it's different. He was able to bypass the cumbersome primitive accumulation and directly qualify to play against the strongest people in the ninja world. All you have to pay is to be exposed on those old yin by fear lists. Thinking about the worst ending. At most, the Tianyu family would be attacked and he would be assassinated or hunted down. With his current strength, even if he defects, he has a high probability of survival. Not to mention that he still has the biggest escape route, which is to use the reverse summoning technique to take refuge in other worlds. Summit War is about to begin. With the strength of a Jonin, if you want to walk all over the cage level, there are as many super shadows as dogs in the Summit War, and you will definitely seek death by going crazy and killing people. Even the 3 Admiral of 4 Emperors in one piece is at best the weakest among the super shadows. That's not something Jonin can provoke, not even the chakra that swallowed Sarutobi Hiruzen. And after missing the Summit War, the next opportunity for such a crazy harvest will only be the Onigashima War 2 years later. Therefore Tianyu is in urgent need of strength. The strength has skyrocketed in a short period of time. But this Shukaku is the only one in front of me that can meet my requirements. As long as you get its chakra, you will be able to instantly reach the peak cage level panel attributes. In the world of pirates, it would definitely be at the level of 7 warlords of the sea. And it is one of the stronger Shichibukai, at least one with the Admiral alternate panel attribute. With that level of strength, even if he offends Whitebeard with a killing spree, he can still survive his attacks. Tianyu took a deep breath. A trace of madness flashed in his eyes. This deal. Can be done. The worst he can do is imitate Uchiha Itachi and run away on his own, and then let Konoha throw a rat weapon. Tianyu made up his mind and quickly formed seals again. He shouted at Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had more defense than attack in front. Hokage-sama, hold on. I'll help you destroy it. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had just used the earth flow wall to block Suna Shigur, staggered. You are a genin and a civilian genin still wants to help me destroy it. Thank God for not causing any trouble for me. Etc. Why hasn't this guy left yet? Shukaku also seemed to notice Tianyu, and its attention was once again attracted by Tianyu's soul fluctuations. It roared, spitting out a powerful air cannon from its mouth and blasted it towards Tianyu. Wind-style practice blank bullets. Summoning technique.